From the very start, I don't blame you much for wanting to be free. I just wanted you to know.
Okay, good, you're here. Alright,
Alright, let me know when the stream starts so we can do our intro.
I started it right now, it's already started.
Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy, Playboy Parker.
Yeah,
I'm back with another podcast for Better Call Maul. Today my guest is Joe Lipham.
Yeah, that's not how that goes.
He's gonna be my guest on my podcast here.
Yeah.
I hope you guys really enjoy this podcast. But Joe's gonna be doing all the work for me. So Joe, how about you start this podcast off for our first topic?
Hey guys, welcome to my podcast. It's awesome to have you guys here. We just came off of watching the first 3 episodes of Andor, which we're going to talk about. But you know, first I wanted just address the room. How's everyone feeling this early morning when we're shooting this podcast at 4 a.m.? I want to know. You know, we're going to be playing some Battlefront in the background while we're talking to you guys, but. How was your week so far? Are you enjoying it? Did Andor make your week better? Let us know. We're dying to know.
Watch Andor. If you haven't watched Andor, watch Andor.
Yeah, which we're gonna get to. We're gonna talk about Andor. Don't worry, it's all in the works. So yeah, I guess the number one thing is let's get the smaller topics out of the way because Andor is gonna take up a huge chunk of our podcast. So since we don't just talk about Star Wars news on here, we're going to talk other news. So let's start with welcome to the podcast, guys. Appreciate you coming in. So we're going to start our topic by talking about this rumor that came out today that hardly anyone's been reporting about except for main Marvel media outlets that I think is interesting. Did you guys know that Jessica Jones was originally meant to be in Daredevil Born Again, but has officially been replaced, rumoredly, from a couple of important insiders known as Casey Walsh, who has gotten multiple things about Multiverse Madness correct, has said that we're supposed to get Christian Ritter in Born Again, but now we'll be getting John Bernthal's Punisher. It will be a cameo leading in to his official show. So that's one topic we're going to talk about is what do you guys think about it being rumored that the Punisher is going to replace what Christian Ritter's role is going to be? And you guys want to see Punisher in this show again because he's already been in one Daredevil show, so it kind of seems like they're repeating history.
They kind of are, yeah.
So what's your take on this, Mr. Ford?
I didn't hear anything about this. This is my first time hearing this.
That's so weird that you haven't heard about this.
God, someone's using a droid. Okay, sorry, that's off topic.
That's funny that you didn't hear about this. It was literally on multiple scoopers today.
So does that mean that rumor from like a month ago from our first podcast, which by the way, we literally talked about this on our first podcast, or the first episode of the podcast, that Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and the Punisher will all be in Born Again. So I'm now questioning the credibility of that person. I'm wondering if it's all BS.
So here's the way I think of it. When you think about rumors, you got to take every rumor with a grain of salt, right? I still don't fully believe this rumor, but I will say that this rumor has more credibility than that rumor from those people showing up. But I still wanted to talk about that rumor because it's at any moment speculation can become reality. You just never know, right?
Yeah.
So I want to talk about everything as it happens from week to week. Because sometimes there's things that you think about that's speculation that becomes reality quite easily. So I think that's a good way to look at that. But this but I'll tell you this. Casey Walsh has gotten half the things in Phase 4 correct. So I'm going to say that if he's not 100% correct on this yet, he's close to being right on the money.
Yeah. Probably. I would assume so.
And this is not the first Marvel topic I have today, actually. There's a couple of other important things I want to discuss with you.
Well, let me get my 2 cents on this.
Yeah, go ahead.
If Jessica Jones doesn't show up in Daredevil, that's fine. We'll probably see her somewhere else.
She'll come up somewhere else. I'm kind of hoping to see her in She-Hulk, but it's starting to seem a little less likely that she's going to be in She-Hulk. But I'm not too worried. We'll probably see her in something. They'll bring her into something. But this does show that they're opening the door. Sorry about that, but this does show that they're opening the door to having these characters pop up in other shows and rebranding these characters in that way, I think. All right, so I think that's really all we have on this topic. Unless you had a last.
I'm gonna get
last
like this here.
Yeah, did you have a last minute thought on this one, or we want ready to move on? All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I mean, I'm all for Punisher obviously being in the show. I think the dynamic between him and Daredevil in season 2 of Daredevil was just fantastic. And I'm really excited to see what they do with the MCU version of these characters. I'm not gonna get too butthurt if Jessica Jones or Luke Cage don't show up. And I feel like if they did, I feel like we'd be doing too much for that show because the fantastic years from Daredevil's on the show. So I think one cameo is enough, and I don't have anything to complain about.
I agree. I think that makes sense, and I'm sure there'll be other things that they probably tease out and whatever. But like, I think this is the smart decision because we already know that this character could easily be established. It's a lot easier to say that we're doing another version, having John Bernthal's Punisher come back than it is Jessica Jones, because then you have to reestablish Jessica Jones' new origins in this storyline. And with Punisher, it's kind of easy to just say, oh, we've seen Daredevil and the Punisher in a show together before. We know kind of, while they'll be different, we kind of know what to expect from these two's rivalry and and they could tweak things and change things, but I expect it's going to be mostly the same type of stuff with a little bit of differences. So that's the first Marvel topic I had. Another one, you actually brought this news to my attention, is there's reports about Foggy Nelson also appearing in Born Again and being the same actor.
Yep.
So
I did.
That's good.
Yeah, man, I'm all for it. I mean, I fucking love Foggy or Foggy Bear, right? Foggy Bear from Daredevil. I mean, dude, he was such a fucking great version of Foggy. I don't think they could have done him better. So I'm excited to see him again, and I feel like he's the kind of person you want in the MCU. He has like that. He definitely has that character you want. Like, just his personality is definitely already fit for the MCU, so they don't really have to treat him too much.
And it'd be really fun to see him like deal with court cases across the MCU with like,
yeah, for sure.
With like all the crazy things that's happened in the MCU. I feel like he'd have some fun 2 cents to say. So yeah, I think that's pretty much a wrap on the Foggy Nelson. I had 2 more Marvel topics before we get into the major Star Wars stuff. So the next topic we got to talk about is there was a new action figure that came out showing new artwork of Riri Williams as Ironheart.
Her suit, yeah, I saw that.
I'm gonna say my 2 cents on this right away, okay? We all know I'm not about that Wakanda Forever life right now in terms of my hope for this movie, right?
Yeah.
I will also say that I know it's an action figure and I know designs can change, but I like everything about this action figure from a design perspective except for the legs. Now, this could be the case of that the toys were poorly manufactured or whatever it was, right? But I thought that this look just doesn't work. And
so
hopefully it gets fixed.
Here's what I think.
Yeah.
So far I've seen that they've had 2 designs for the suit.
Yeah, yeah.
Like if we're talking about just Wakanda Forever, not Ironheart, because we've seen what the suit looks like on the show. But if we're talking about, so for Wakanda Forever, they have this really like Mark 1 kind of version, it's all funky. It's like just got a bunch of pieces everywhere. It's not a full suit of armor. And then they have the one that was leaked, which is the full body armor. We all know that they use concept art to make toys. They don't use the final version to make toys.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it'll be adjusted.
And that's what they do. So I think it'll be different probably, but even if it's not too different, I really have no problem with the suit because it's not the final version of the suit we're gonna get.
That's
just
true.
A prototype. So for what it is, I don't think it's that bad. I think it looks unique.
Like for me, I thought
it's not gonna be the final version, so I'm cool with it, honestly.
For me, I liked everything except, like I said, I praised the suit. I just thought the legs looked a little weird, and it could just be a fact of it just being the toy that's that way, right? But I think that's the end of that one, is just that, you know, it's a toy. We won't know until the movie comes out or we get proper posters or what to expect, right?
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
So I would say that that's kind of my take on it.
I'm gonna hold my expectation until I actually see the
yeah,
itself.
I agree. I just wanted to address it just because it seemed interesting.
Yeah.
And then the next thing on our list is apparently Don Cheadle has hinted that Armor Wars War Machine is going to have multiple new War Machine suits. Now, why I think this is interesting is if you guys know the Armor Wars storyline, with Tony being the one that it originally featured, I'm not surprised that this is the case because I have a feeling they're going to use Rhodey until they get the whole Morgan stuff sorted out and until they get Riri Williams ready to be established. I have a feeling that Rhodey's going to kind of take up that Iron Man mantle without being Iron Man, if that makes sense. You know, like, he'll do what Iron Man does, but Rhodey won't walk around in red and gold and be like, I am Iron Man. This is who I am.
Gonna happen. I don't think that's ever going to happen.
No.
We know that that's going to be Riri Williams when she steps into the mantle.
No, I think it's definitely going to be, I think he'll he'll fill the mantle, I think. But, it won't be.
He'll be the temporary, kind of, so, it's going to be in that gray area where she's not quite ready yet. But he'll when these situations start popping up, which I'm literally hoping and praying that Justin Hammer's going to make a return for Armor Wars. I want him to be the main antagonist. But, whatever the case is, he's going to be that temporary, that guy. And it's going to be a little bit like Falcon and Winter Soldier, where you have this dude who's been, his partner for all of his life. And now he has to be the one to step in the midst. He has to be Iron Man. He has to be that Iron Man without being Iron Man, obviously. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I also heard that Don Cheadle contract ends after Armor Wars. So I don't know if we'll see him again, but I'd like to see him again. I think he's done great as Rhodey.
Here's the way I see it, okay? Just because we've been through the contract is done thing before, so I don't necessarily think this means it's the end, because people up their contracts at Marvel like that. Snapping their fingers like Thanos did. Very easily. So I would say we got to see Armor Wars to see where it ends, but I'd say we'll probably see Rhodey again.
I think so too. I don't think we're going to see the end of him. I mean, he's going to be in Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. We know he's going to be
they got to have him there because he played a massive, well, he didn't play a massive part, but having an Iron Man figure who is been around in the MCU for a while, that's already established with certain characters, he's already established with Gamora and Nebula, he's already established with some of those characters, you would think you would want to have him around again.
I mean, hell, we could see him show up in Secret Invasion. You could see him show up in Captain America: New World Order.
I'd like to see him. I'd like to see him in Sam. That's the one thing. I want to see more of that dynamic in the MCU. So I'm here for it. Especially now that one is completely Cap, and we saw how Rhodey felt about Cap at the end of Cap's lifespan, if you would call it that. So I would expect something to be a bit more darker, a bit more desirable in that situation, and I think that will be interesting. So next thing we got to talk about is something that's floating around the internet that's not getting as much attention. Apparently, Marvel executives are now saying that the Thunderbolts quote-unquote lineup was not finalized when they showed it at D23. So I guess now and there were reports of Zemo is meant to still be involved in some capacity. I heard Abomination still has a role to play, and so I guess this is interesting. I wish they would have told us that at D23 instead of putting that picture and just being like, oh, here's the Thunderbolts. But it's still, like I said, it's a wait and see kind of situation. I see a wait and see thing happening at this point.
I think it's a bunch of BS.
I agree too. I mean, but if Zemo's involved,
because they know the internet's fucking on fire right now with the entire cast. I have no doubt that Zemo's going to be in it, but I don't think he's going to be.
I will say this, and
this is. But there's no hope of Abomination, Punisher, I don't even know who else would be on the team.
I will say this: I went and followed all my track list of MCU like fans of people who are content creators that love Marvel but also have problems with Marvel, and I was completely flabbergasted at the lack of video content about not having a problem with this. You know, because I made mine because I seriously was upset, and of course. Trevor, Pixar expert, he made his, but he's not on the same level about this stuff as a lot of me and my other friends as we get on the higher tier and everything. So it's like, for me, it's really a bit of a problem, and it's really kind of causing some issues. So we'll wait and see what happens, but that's the kind of mediocre thing. So now we're going to shift gears since we're all over the place. Now we're going to go to a place we've not talked about in some time. We're gonna transition to, before we go full Star Wars on this world, because obviously Better Call Maul, you know, Star Wars podcast, you gotta get that Star Wars content. It's time to talk a little bit about, for months we've had some bad DC news, right, with all the nonsense going on with the CEO leadership and not having a DC president and all these things, right? We're finally getting to the point where there's good DC news coming out. So, we'll talk about this briefly. There was a new TV spot for Black Adam that came out today that gave us a really good look at Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate without the mask. And there's even a line from The Rock said in the trailer that almost hints that we might get some sort of Superman cameo, because during the scene in the TV spot, The Rock is facing Dr. Fate and Atom Smasher and all these different, like, you know, superhero team members, right? And he says nobody on Earth can stop me. And I was like, nobody on Earth, that's interesting. Because there's a lot of ways you could take that, right? But
yeah.
I'm going with, because they've always had a connection, that there might be some Superman hints, and that doesn't mean we have to see him, but there definitely is a reference to the idea of someone like Superman, if that makes sense. What is your takeaway from this particular topic?
Unlikely.
Well, so here's the thing. I'm not saying.
Listen.
Yeah.
We're done. I think it's unlikely for Superman to face Black Adam in the DC eventually. No. In this movie, yes. I think they've already put way too many superheroes on the plate. I mean, they have the Justice Society of America already on the team, or in the film. Fitting Superman in there, even if it was for a cameo, I feel like that's overcompensating. So, you know, I think they're eventually going to do it. I think they're eventually going to do that, and I think that's what they're hinting at.
And I thought this was more like planting seeds. Yeah, I was thinking this was more planting seeds.
They're definitely setting up. I think we're going to see Black Adam fight Superman before we see him fight Shazam. For sure.
Probably that could happen.
But yeah, I think that's definitely what they're hinting at. I'm excited for Black Adam. I think it looks like a decent movie. I don't think it's going to be the best movie in the world. I don't think it'll be like the greatest movie this year. It would surprise me if it is.
In terms of DC, it's going to be very hard for them to go anywhere near to what they've accomplished with Batman, because they finally gave people the Batman movie that people wanted, and now that they've gotten that, they're kind of spoiled with what to expect to get. So that's, I guess, like, I think Black Adam will be decent. We'll have to see what happens once again. I haven't heard of any people screening the movie yet. I've heard people screen Flash already, even though it doesn't come out for a while. So that's interesting. But I think the number one thing, so that was one DC topic. Now we have two other big ones to cover, but that was the one that I was just kind of like, oh, it came out today, it's pretty interesting. Two other things came out today that are a bit more interesting, though. So as you know, if you guys don't know yet, the Flash final season has officially started filming, right? So Grant Gustin's on set, everyone is there on set. Well, today there was some set photos that came out, and during one of these set photos, something was revealed that sets up for the first episode that's quite interesting of the final season. And what was revealed is that we're going to be getting a new version of Captain Boomerang this season But the crazy thing is, new actor, of course, but also, as the Flash typically does try to do, this looks like it's going to be the most comic book Captain Boomerang we've seen on the show. He's got the jacket, he's got the hat, and some people were saying that this wasn't going to be the Digger Harkness one, this would be one of the other people that had the Captain Boomerang mantle, and that one of these versions was someone who had temporarily possessed a version of super speed, but not obviously completely connected to Speed Force. But I guess it's something that they did in the comics, so we'll have to see how they pan it out. I know a lot of people's concern is they cast an American actor and the character's Australian, so a lot of people are hoping that if it's the other, so a lot of people are saying if it's not Digger Harkness, then that's fine, because apparently this other version has an American accent. So I think it's fine as long as it's not Digger Harkness. If it's Digger, then there's no way that will work. But we already had Digger Harkness in the Arrowverse, so I don't think we need to see another actor play that same character. I think I'd rather see a different version of him, whether he's the son of Digger Harkness and wanting to live his legacy, or he's just some other random dude trying to get some rogue gallery stuff done, right? So I think that's my main topic on this. Is the final season of The Flash is filming. Seems like they're planning some sort of rogues gallery thing. Sounds like it's gonna be a pretty interesting season so far. And we don't know too much more outside of this, but this is just what I heard today. So you have thoughts on this as an avid watcher of The Flash?
Me, I haven't been on.
So you're not up to date. Okay, got it.
No,
so,
I'm burnt out on The Flash. I could care less.
So you don't have much of an opinion on this one. Okay.
I think Grant Gustin is a great guy. I think he did decent with what he's done, but they've done too many of these.
I just felt this was, I just felt like this was a newsworthy.
I've never really been impressed by the show.
Yeah.
I mean, the first one was pretty good, but after that, it just kind of burned.
Yeah, I just thought it was pretty newsworthy considering it was something to talk about, and it's interesting to get their days.
Boomerang in the show again, I think.
Yeah.
Boomerang's a classic
Flash villain, yeah. I agree. That was the one thing I was leaning towards that sounded promising.
No one could ever replace good old Jai Courtney.
Oh no, of course not.
He's my Captain Boomerang. I love him forever.
I understand.
Captain Boomerang from the DC.
Yeah, it was sad he had to die that way, but
man, I miss him so much.
I like the fact that James Gunn killed him though, because James Gunn does that. That's what he does.
He had balls, bro. He had balls.
Speaking of which, James Gunn also recently shared that Peacemaker Season 2 is well on the way, so
that's good, yeah.
So there's a positive update on that.
Season 1 was, Peacemaker was, that's definitely, when I do my top 10 series, that's definitely like top 5, probably number 5.
Oh yeah, Peacemaker is fantastic.
Peacemaker was like the debut kind of show on HBO Max, at least for me.
And for me,
I haven't been subscribed to HBO Max, but when I subscribe for Peacemaker. After that, every show that's on HBO Max has been fucking amazing, and I'm so excited for The Last of Us. I think it's one of the greatest shows on there too. But
yeah, I agree.
Peacemaker, fucking phenomenal.
I agree. I really think that they really crushed it with that, and I think more Peacemaker is great, and I cannot wait. Honestly, I love that show so much. I cannot wait for Season 2. I would definitely put that show on the higher tier for me, just because I loved it, and I think it's so good. And James Gunn is just such a master storyteller, and just, I get the vibe that he's just going to deliver something absolutely phenomenal and amazing, and I'm so excited to see it. So that's that piece, and then speaking of HBO Max now, since we haven't had any major Arrowverse crossover in a long time, people have wondered, there's some of these shows that are connected, are we ever going to get any more crossovers of any variety again, right? Between these shows all being different Earths, whatever, multiversal, both DC and Marvel like to dabble into the multiverse, right? Well, I now have some exclusive news that I've been following for a few days, that apparently Doom Patrol, Titans, and Stargirl will have a crossover this year. And it's not just like rumored, it's confirmed. There was a picture today from Stargirl's actress's from her Twitter account, and it was her standing with two of the writers and comic book creators of both Stargirl and Titans, and she was next to the actor for Beast Boy from Titans. So this to me is absolutely fantastic because mixing Doom Patrol with these two is incredibly crazy and weird, and out of all the crossovers that they could have done, I'm very shocked.
So again, HBO Max, they literally don't miss on any shows. I watched Doom Patrol and I fell in love. Titans, I need to catch up on. I saw season 1, haven't seen any of it since. Need to catch up on. Stargirl, I could really care less about that. But
here's the thing I think you need to do.
Fucking amazing. I love it.
I think the thing with Titans that people need to be aware of is season 1 was great because it was one of a kind brand and it started something that we had not seen yet. Where season 2, don't get me wrong, it has its ups and downs, but its strongest thing is that it features probably one of the best damn Deathstrokes we've ever gotten, which that was definitely a high, but there's some lows that I'm not going to spoil because I want you guys to watch it, but story-wise it has a little issues and structure-wise. Season 3 for me was like, it felt like a soft reboot back to that season 1 format, but it also brought back, because even though in season 1, you know, they make Robin kind of really dark, right? But Nightwing isn't as much of a dark character, it's much more of a lighthearted character, right? So they wanted to give more that lighthearted Titans feel back to it, but still have those dark moments. Yeah. So they do the Red Hood storyline stuff in season 3, and they do they bring in Scarecrow, and I won't spoil what they do, but just that they're involved, right? And it's really cool. And they even tease some classic Teen Titans villains like Gizmo, and it's super cool. It's just, the show's great. I think the actor who plays Nightwing is absolutely fantastic, and all the Titans are great, and I am always down to see more of them. And Titan season 3, I'm told, will come out in November. We're actually supposed to be getting a trailer for season, I think this is season 4. Season 4 will be having a trailer at their New York Comic Con in October, so that should be pretty exciting. I recommend you catch up on that one. I love Doom Patrol very much. I think this is great. I need to catch up on Stargirl, but I love Stargirl, so I will watch more of it because I fell in love with that show. For one, that show started on the CW, and I was like, how is this show, much like Superman and Lois, above the quality of the normal CW superhero shows, right?
Yeah, sure.
But that HBO Max money just, it makes all the more sweeter. Like, just something about it just really works.
I think less about Stargirl because I'm not familiar with the character.
I think if anybody that should, if I could recommend Stargirl to anyone, the reason why I would say they should watch it is, even before this crossover stuff, is if you want to kind of see what the JSA stuff is going to be like in Black Adam, Stargirl will kind of give you that flavor, because they kind of have
the... You know nothing about JSA, but I've argued with them, so...
No, yeah, of course.
I've been familiar with them for years.
And they do...
And they're new to like DC, like you're new to all this stuff, like...
And they do a really good job of, if you want to see a really good Legion of Doom scenario, like if DC were to have a proper villain team-up, they really nail that on the head. Like, that was something they were really good at. So, especially in their first season. So, yeah, they all have their own different layers and different things. But yeah, I think this crossover sounds super exciting. I honestly have missed these DC TV shows getting to do crossovers. Like, even just the fun bit in the Peacemaker finale with the Justice League from the DCEU showing up.
Awesome,
like just even little things. Like I know a lot of people are like, oh, we need a big crossover. For me, just the mere existence of these shows and all being connected by the HBO Max budget, if they can make them all make sense to be around, and the fact that we're not using CW characters means that we can actually do high quality, cool shit, right? And so I think that's really cool to be able to do that, to be able to say, okay, this is happening, this is something that could be pretty cool. I'm first wondering, because we know that Doom Patrol has Cyborg. We know Cyborg's a Teen Titan, right? So,
Yeah.
which characters from Doom Patrol are crossing over with these characters? Is it everyone? Is it a couple people? I'm very curious to find out which way they're gonna do this sort of crossover with.
Yeah.
So I think that's really.
Doom Patrol is one of my favorite shows on HBO Max. I think it's one of the best. Like before Peacemaker, definitely one of the best DC shows we've had.
Yeah,
honestly,
absolutely.
I'd put it up there with I'd put it up there with Peacemaker for sure.
Definitely, it's very good.
I'm gonna watch it more times. I know I will. But this collab sounds awesome, and
I'm here for it. I'm definitely here for it. I have some videos coming out later today about it as well. So I definitely will.
Everyone needs to be involved with.
Yeah, I'm definitely very much looking forward to it. So now it's time.
Doom Patrol, I'm just letting them know. If you haven't checked out Doom Patrol, watch Doom Patrol. It's worth it.
Yeah, definitely watch Doom Patrol, guys. It's worth it. All right, so next final topic that's going to condense us. We're going to talk all things Star Wars news, but we're not going to get to the Andor stuff till the end of the topic because there's too many other good things going on that we don't want to miss out on, right? So let's start with the number one things that we know of right now. So we know, since the last time we did this podcast, we had not had D23 yet, right? So let's break down, because we didn't get to properly do it last time, let's break down the proper, let's talk about why because since we talked about Marvel earlier, right? Are we in agreement that Star Wars slapped Marvel in the face at D23 this year? Because I think they did. I think they kicked the shit out of them in the worst way possible in terms of because D23 is supposed to be about teasing upcoming projects and showing that big things are coming within the company, right? And we knew Star Wars was working on a couple things for a while. We've known about what projects are coming out this year. We know what's coming out for the remainder of the year, right? So on, so on. We know what Marvel's got cooking, but I feel like ever since Marvel went Secret Wars, Daredevil Born Again, Kang Dynasty, right? I feel like their momentum to the fans has kind of gotten a little weak, especially after that. Yeah, especially that Thunderbolt
because they've already
announcement.
kind of given away their best things that they have. I mean, they still have a lot of things that they could reveal.
But that's the thing.
They're still waiting for some weird reason. They're still waiting to give us.
What I don't understand is for D23, that's a big thing. That doesn't seem like
That's something you want to go all out on. Like Comic-Con, that's. I mean, you're there for a lot of different things. But D23, that's your prime night. That's the night you want to go all out.
Exactly, and I feel like for them to be like, oh, Thunderbolts roster, Werewolf by Night, mid-season trailer for She-Hulk, Secret Invasion. That seems weak sauce, man. Weak sauce.
Weak sauce, dude.
What?
Not even a Black Panther trailer too. What?
They brought nothing of proper value to hype people up that people wanted.
Like a sneaker. I don't know. Some kind of sneak peek.
Yeah, so that was kind of weak. But then Star Wars is here with the Andor final trailer ahead of Andor coming out, which we're going to talk about Andor, so don't get me wrong, guys. We're going to definitely talk about it. We're going to get there.
For Andor, oh my god.
It was so good. Yep. And then they come out the gates with, we got the Mando Season 3 trailer, which had been revealed kind of to some people at Star Wars Celebration, but now we got to finally feast our eyes on it, and it looks like it's going to be a really good season of Mando, and I'm looking forward to it. Unfortunately, we did get the bad news that Bad Batch Season 2 won't be coming out till January, but at least they told us, so we know what to expect. And that's important. It was sad news, but sometimes we have to... But then also, we didn't just get trailers, we also got some pretty big announcements. One in particular is, as fans of Star Wars Rebels between both of us, how did you feel about the announced casting for Ezra Bridger that was announced that weekend? Have you got a chance to look into the actor? But
he looks the part, definitely. I mean,
I feel like they
definitely looks the part. I don't know anything about the guy, but I think, he definitely looks like an Ezra Bridger. So
yeah, I feel like they picked a good person to play him. Hey, FB, welcome to the podcast. I'm so glad you could make it in.
What do you think, though? What do you think of the casting?
I love it. I did a video about it last week, and I just think it was I was split at first because I really wanted the actor from the live action Aladdin.
Yeah.
But then looking at the actor and looking into his resume,
yeah, they both look adjusted for the part.
Yeah,
I think they both could bring something. I mean, look, as long as you nail the personality, you're good. Like,
yeah,
that's really all you gotta do.
FBE, I am here with my co-star Jake Ford, aka Playboy Parker. So yeah, I think that's really important and interesting, and I think he's gonna crush it. I feel like with Star Wars, Marvel does this too, but Star Wars so far has shown me they barely ever miss the mark with their casting. Like, everybody that they've gotten in the newer stuff, yeah, absolutely. We all worked everything out. But yeah, I feel like with something like that, you just kind of expect like crazy good stuff, and like to have like these sort of castings and have them be as good. Like, you know, we have Diego Luna, we have Pedro Pascal, we have Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka, we have all these big people, right? And
yeah,
they've done such a good job with bringing them here and together, and it's been such a cool pleasure to get to see that happen. So
sure.
I think the casting they couldn't have done better on. But now I think the number one thing to take into account here is let's break down these trailers some more, right? So we kind of talked a little bit about Mando. We're not going to talk too much about Andor because we know that the show's out now, and we're going to be talking about it at the end of this. But let's talk about the trailer. Let's talk about my personal opinion on what won D23 over everything else. And let's talk about something that's coming out very soon, sooner than people realize. And that is the show known as Tales of the Jedi. Okay, so we know this is going to be condensed to a bunch of little short mini arcs. Now, one reason why this is such a high thing for most people is because it's really honestly a continuation of Clone Wars. Like, it's not like obviously a direct continuation, but it's elements of things we didn't get to see in Clone Wars, and as well as in Star Wars media in general, things that we haven't gotten to see in animation or live action. And some of these arcs are going to be quite interesting. We're going to see what Ahsoka's life was like when she was very young. We're going to see Anakin train Ahsoka, how the only reason that she survived Order 66 is because of Anakin. So that's going to be pretty cool. I love this shot of her training with the clones. I think that's going to be super crazy to see them and make a lot of Star Wars fans feel emotional. But I think the biggest piece is to take away, if you guys read the Ahsoka novel, is we're going to see Ahsoka fight an Inquisitor in here, and that Inquisitor is going to be the one that she takes the crystals from and bleeds her crystal back to the white ones that we see in Rebels. So I think that's going to be pretty cool, and I'm always down to see more Inquisitors. And I'm excited to see more Inquisitors that we don't know about, because as we saw in Obi-Wan, we saw live-action Inquisitors, and we know what those Inquisitors were like. Whether we had mixed opinions or whatever they were, that's kind of how it was, whatever. And then in Rebels we had more Inquisitors, but that was a bit treated better, in my personal opinion, than how it was treated in the Obi-Wan show. But yeah, so Inquisitors, they're interesting. It's cool to get more of them. For me, the number one storyline in this entire show that I'm most looking forward to is, as you guys saw when we were playing Darkseid, I cannot wait for everything involving young Dooku. So, if you guys don't know, I am a huge fan of the canon novel Dooku Lost Jedi, and this show is bringing the best parts of that book into a visual reality. And I couldn't be happier. I mean, Dooku's Jedi years has always been something I've been so curious about. And we're actually going to get to see a young Qui-Gon trained under Dooku. We'll probably see Yoda's connection to Dooku and where things started to go wrong. You can see Mace trying to help Dooku when he's fallen to the dark side. You see Dooku interact with Yoda's other species, being Yaddle. So that will be pretty cool. And there's a couple theories about Dooku might kill one of the Jedi early on and kind of cement his path as the Sith that he later becomes. So that's gonna be really cool. And also this will give us much more closure on Dooku as a character. Like, he's not just gonna be some bad dude. There's mere reason why he goes to the dark side. And I think that's gonna be so cool to see. You have any thoughts on Tales of the Jedi? Like, from what we've talked about?
I mean, you say that, man. Dooku, fucking one of the best Sith. One of the best Sith, best Sith to wield a lightsaber.
Yeah, I definitely think Christopher
one of the
really...
best lightsaber wielders of all time, honestly. And then, Snoke on the other hand, we just fucking a legend, like a goddamn legend that we need to, look, I can't wait for that episode, man. We need to see more of her.
It's gonna be great, yeah. It's gonna be awesome to get to see all that.
Her come up as a young Jedi. But obviously, I think both.
Tales of the Jedi is gonna be fantastic.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. I honestly think it's gonna be like pretty. I mean, even though it's gonna be 6 episodes and it's gonna be like a very short series, it's definitely gonna be like, you know, almost as good as some of the Marvel Star Wars are doing now.
Yeah, I agree.
Because the storytelling there is just like, I mean, it's completely different from when they did like the original Clone Wars and Rebels. Because like, I mean, obviously they have like, when you have 6 episodes, you're only doing 6 episodes, you need to put more information within a small period of time. And from like shows like obviously The Mandalorian or Obi-Wan Kenobi, they're able to do that and make it like so like deep and, you know, just wonderful. And I can't wait to see what they do with both of these characters that everyone loves so much.
This is my podcast FBE for everything. We talked in the beginning when you rewatch this when it gets uploaded to YouTube. We talked about Marvel, we talked about DC, we talked about Star Wars. This is how it will be formatted every week. Now we've finally figured out the best proper format for everything, so we're able to actually deliver multiple topics in multiple sections, and that's really the goal here. But now we're getting to the best part of the
Before that, can I ask you that real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, ask me a question. I'm ready whenever.
If you get to choose a season 2 for Tales of the Jedi, what 2 Jedis or Sith are you picking to tell like 2 different stories? Who are you picking?
I'm picking Plo Koon, and if we're doing Jedi, right? Because you said 2 Jedi and then 2 Sith, or just 2 Jedi or Sith?
You get to choose, because for Tales of the Jedi, they're doing Dooku, which is a former Jedi, but they both have to have at least somewhat, like they have to have some kind of Jedi tie, because Dooku was obviously a Jedi to begin with, then he turned to a Sith, but like they were both, Ahsoka and Dooku were both Jedi at one point. So yeah. I'm saying if you had to pick the 2 different storylines, so that's what they're going to be doing. Who are you picking?
Well, absolutely, I would definitely pick Plo Koon for 1, because there's so much we don't know about him, and I think that would be so great. And then I would also pick Quinlan Vos, because they could give us Dark Disciple, like what Dave Filoni wrote but never got to physically show us in animation form. And there's so many layers to his character, especially now what we learned in Obi-Wan to him, that they could do so many interesting things. You know, like there's a bit of dark side to him, there's a bit of light side to him. It would have been so interesting. I would love to see the storylines and what they could do with those specific 2 characters. Also, it looks like FBE also has a question for both of us in our podcast. Yeah, we will.
Before we do that though, I'll tell you mine.
Okay,
I would definitely go Mace Windu for sure.
Mace is good. I like that.
Absolutely no doubt, Mace Windu. And then I would do Yoda.
Yoda's good. I was going more personal on personal preference. of who I would want to know more about.
That's what
but
I
I
mean,
think,
that's what I'm asking you
yeah,
the question. Obviously, the question.
yeah. But I think Mace
I'm
is
just
great.
saying, everyone got
Yeah,
the pick. You know, I would personally, I would do Mace and Yoda because they're two different, like, they're two very different, like, distinct Jedi. But at the same time, we don't really know a lot about their backstory. Like, unless you read, like, people, like, not a lot of people read, like, the novels and stuff. Unless you, like, go in depth and, like, actually, like, you know, go out of your way to find out a lot about this. If you just watch the movies and the series, we don't really know a lot about these
yeah,
characters. So, like, having them, like, getting their own, like, you know, how they came up, whatever, just like the dream with Dooku and Ahsoka,
yeah,
I think that'd be awesome to see. But, I do agree with you. I think Plo Koon's one of the best, like,
yeah,
Republic era Jedi's. And I love Quinlan Voss too. I think he's amazing.
yeah. Absolutely. You can ask us a Marvel question. Any questions are totally
Yeah,
cool.
ask us,
for
please,
us.
please ask us anything. We love it. We
Yeah.
want to interact with.
We totally
you guys.
want to interact with you guys. We're down for Marvel, Star Wars, DC. Any of it is cool for us. But yeah, I agree. I think those are great choices, and those are characters that we definitely need to see more fleshed out and more interesting. I actually have. I'm going to start making more Star Wars what ifs. So I'm going to make a specific.
Yes, Steve, yes.
I'm going to make a specific video that I think you guys will be a pretty big fan of later today. I want to do a what if Cody didn't execute Order 66. That's one I've wanted to do for a while, because I always kind of felt like through Clone Wars him and Rex were very close. So I'd like to see what would have happened if they both stayed on good terms, right? And like, because what would the Empire be without one of the top best clones, you know, willing to? Because in Legends, Cody trained the people that became stormtroopers, like, so
That's true.
it's interesting.
The thing is that how the Empire worked, that the clone, like, even if clones had high status rankings,
Right,
they
right.
were pretty disposable. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
feel like that question is interesting because people have a lot of respect for Cody, but at the same time, when you're looking at it from like the Imperial standpoint, like the people who are manufacturing the clones, they didn't give two damns about who was ranked higher or whatever. They were disposable. I mean, they're all the same person, right? So, I don't think it would have mattered at the end of the day, but it is an interesting question.
Okay, that's true. I agree. I think it just would be interesting to see it addressed, just because I'd like to.
What did FBA say?
So his question. This is going to get interestingly controversial unless we play this smart. So I'm gonna let you go first. But he asked, was Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness worth it when it was in cinema?
What does he mean worth it? Like worth seeing?
Like, yeah, I think worth seeing. What if you had the choice? Obviously, like, you know, if you go back in time, right? Would you still want to see it in cinema? Did you think it was great to go to the cinema for that movie? Like, stuff like that.
Okay. Okay. I have like. That question's kind of like depends, but.
Yeah, he says worth seeing. Yeah, so he clarified.
So, okay. So, I'm gonna put this out here. First thing, I think any movie is worth seeing. I think,
True.
like, unless something looks stupid as hell, or like, you know, like not appealing to you at all, if something catches your attention, it's probably worth seeing. I think any movie is worth, like, you should definitely give a movie, like any movie, worth like a shot.
Yeah.
Even if it turns out to be terrible, you at least watch the movie and you get your opinion out there. But okay,
Yeah.
let's say like, alright, was the movie worth seeing? I think, yeah. I think it was definitely worth seeing. I don't think it wasn't worth seeing. This is not like Multiverse of Madness is not like Morbius, where
Right.
this movie is fucking terrible, and no one should have to go, like, have to waste like an hour and a half of their life to watch Morbius. No one needs to do that. But Multiverse of Madness has, no matter how everyone feels about the movie, it has somewhat level of enjoyment, whereas a movie like Morbius has no enjoyment. You can't get anything out of it other than pain and suffering.
Yeah.
But with Multiverse of Madness, I think it's a completely different story. Where, I mean, I personally, I enjoyed it a lot, and I think it's definitely worth watching at least once.
Yeah,
Even
I
if
will
you don't
say.
like Marvel, I mean, it's just a fun film. There's a lot of interesting things in it. The visuals are amazing. The cinematography is amazing. There's a lot about the movie that's amazing. So I think one watch, definitely worth it.
Yeah, I will say that as much as I had my problems with the overall movie, in terms of what Jake Ford said about it being like an enjoyable experience.
I don't know who Jake
Sorry, Playboy Park, whatever works. But yeah, what he said about any movie being worth watching except for Morbius is absolutely great, because in the cinema there are so many cool moments in these Marvel movies that are so worth it to go see. Like, even for the first time, even if you have issues with it after, it's worth it for that first time just for you to go and say you saw it and you got to experience those cool moments. So I would say, just even with my opinions on the movie, I'm still glad I saw it in the cinema.
Yeah.
Where movies are meant to be seen. So I will definitely say that I feel that would be my justification for that situation.
If you don't watch it, that's pretty much your fault.
Yeah.
And then it's just gonna keep you guessing. And like, you're just gonna like have this empty hole in your in your heart for like, what's it all about? I mean, that's a movie where you have to see it just to see what the fuck's going on. Because
Yeah.
if you've seen the trailers, that movie's gonna like fuck you. I mean, you're gonna be like, what's happening?
It was definitely still
happening?
worth it, because it was a trip and experience that people weren't expecting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad to. Okay, go ahead, ask another question. I hope we give satisfying answers for you. Yeah, he's gonna ask us another. Yeah, he's gonna ask us another one, which is totally cool. It just means that we'll just keep asking.
Listen, I'm kind of done arguing about Multiverse of Madness. That movie came out in May. I mean, I'm still gonna put it high on my list, but I think people have different opinions. Same as
I think ultimately for me and the nice. Yeah, go ahead, ask another question. I think for me the number one thing with Multiverse of Madness, I'm always gonna have mixed feelings about it. As an overall movie, I think my opinion of it is gonna depend on the impact of it in the future. You know, like if the things about the what did they call them? The what's the word? Why can I not think of it? Not Mind Flayer. That's Stranger Things. I was thinking of
the Souls of the Damned.
No, what did they call the things that were happening that Doctor Strange?
Incursions.
Yeah, it depends on how they do the incursions, right? So like, if they really do that,
did Multiverse of Madness to set up Secret Wars. So if anything, we got that as a bit. I'm glad you saw that. Yeah, we got to see John Krasinski, so
yeah, that was definitely cool. Yeah. Okay, so his next question is: Thor: Love and Thunder better or worse than Ragnarok? Okay, so this will be an interesting one.
Absolutely worse than Ragnarok. Ragnarok is a way superior film. It's not even close. If you say different, you are wrong. It's an opinion, but that's my opinion.
I completely agree with him. I mean, I have fun with Love and Thunder, but it could never
has a lot of problems.
Yeah, but it could never. Yeah, but it couldn't.
It's not a flawless film, but
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like Love and Thunder is a fun movie, but as a Thor outing, it doesn't play the same emotional beats or the same story-wise that Ragnarok has, and I think that's just different, and they're both very different movies. I think it's interesting because both of them play on a comedy level, but I somehow feel like Ragnarok was actually, even with all the comedy, it felt darker than Love and Thunder did.
It felt like a little more serious. It took itself more seriously. Because in Love and Thunder you have people joking around about cancer, which doesn't feel right. And you have people joking around about like I mean that was pretty much it, just cancer, but there are a ton of moments, there are a lot of moments where it feels way too jokey, and the one scene that pops into my mind is the scene where they're about to leave on the ship, and he says, "We're coming back with children, and we're gonna feast, but not on children." Like that just kind of took me. I'm like, is that really funny? It's not really funny, is it?
I think it's disappointing because because Taika Waititi is such a good director, and I didn't feel like this was some of his best work. Yeah.
He had to live up to the standards of Ragnarok, which Ragnarok was an amazing film. He had to find a way to make a movie that was just as good, if not better than Ragnarok. And I think that's what killed it, is because he was trying too hard to do that.
Yeah, I agree. I wish they wouldn't have, I personally feel like what was great about Hela was there was no, like, what she was fighting for. Something the MCU, I think, is facing as a problem right now that I'm not a huge fan of, is there always has to be a redemption arc or a, like, reason. There's always obviously a reason for the villain doing what they're doing, but they try to make the villain just kind of, you have to care about them, right? And it's got to be about them doing.
With Hela, that didn't really, because Hela's just like, I mean, she's literally called the goddess of death. Like she's just an evil person, and
I'm sick of the.
But here's the thing, I don't mind what they did with Gore, but if you look at the source material, Gore is he's a sympathetic character. In the source material, obviously, it's pretty much the same thing. I mean, he lost his planet in the comics, he loses his daughter, whatever. But they make him so just like, I don't know. They don't give us enough of really what he's supposed to be, and that's the God Butcher.
I think the problem is
this really weary, sympathetic, like you know, I just want. I don't know.
It's sad that we didn't get to see him really like fully unleashed, and most of his terror happened off screen. It would have because he had the makings of making such a great Thor villain, and then like it didn't feel like they were willing to really go to that extra step with him.
And I think another stupid thing of me is the whole plot of the movie was the point of getting Gore to go to wherever the rock or wherever the eternity place. But the thing that like makes no sense for me is why did he go on a killing spree of all the gods if he's just gonna wish for all the gods to die anyway? Like, what was the point of going out of your way to kill all those gods if you're why wasn't the first thing to do to get Thor's hammer and then go to eternity? Why did you kill all the gods? That makes no sense.
And I think the way that they make
there was a lot of those little things in the film that just kind of took me out after.
And I feel like if they're setting up
there,
and when they set up the whole like they need the gods' helps and stuff, they shouldn't have made. I get Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe's a great actor, but they didn't need to make him. They didn't need to make him full blown comedy. Like.
He was just a goofy version of Zeus, like just a.
I get what they were trying to do. They weren't. They didn't want to have an Odin repeat, but they could have done something that was a little different. Like it didn't need to be all comedic, like because that's what we have Thor for. We know that comedy stuff works for Thor. It doesn't have to work for Zeus. You could have done something a little different with Zeus. Yeah, I think that would have been the number one thing, is they could have done a bit more. I also will say, I think they needed to take more time developing the Jane storyline. I feel like she becomes Mighty Thor like that, and there isn't really any like
she became Mighty Thor like so freaking quick. And it was literally the first footage we saw of Thor: Love and Thunder was her getting the powers, like she was being lifted up in the air, and they cut so much of the movie for. It's I don't know whose fault it is. I'm not behind the curtain, guy. I don't know what's going on over there in Marvel and Disney, but they cut so much of the movie, and it was just so unnecessary.
Yeah, I think it's mostly the CGI.
It took away from the movie because they cut it. So.
Yeah, I agree.
Don't even get me started on the CGI. The CGI, I mean, the lighting and some of the scenes are fucking terrible. It's atrocious.
Yeah, it was pretty bad when that happened.
I think the only good looking scene, like I'm saying good, the only good looking scene was when they were in the Shadow Realm fighting Gore. That was the only good looking scene. Everything other than that, nothing else in the movie looks great. It all looks pretty shit to me.
Yeah.
That's just how I feel though.
It's kind of sad that they had to go for the I hate that they went for the Thor needs other people's help to beat the villain route too. I would have.
Yeah, exactly. Thor's a fucking god. He's really,
yeah.
He goes toe to toe with the Officer by himself in the comics. And he needs the other gods to help. Like.
Yeah, it just seems so weird to have these god kids, and he needs to have an army to do this when he should have been easily able to defeat them. And the whole. I don't really understand the whole lusting over his old hammer when he has Stormbreaker thing. It doesn't really work for me.
Wait, what was it?
Like, so he's got hey, one player. So he's got Stormbreaker, but he's lusting over having his old hammer back because it's being rebuilt.
I will say that was one of the only jokes in the movie that kind of worked for me. I thought that was funny. Like that made sense to do, and maybe it was obvious, but it was funny. I thought that was funny.
No, I'm not saying it's not funny. I'm just saying from like a character trait, I don't like that idea for him because I feel like
But I feel like it also kind of made sense because Mjolnir kind of represented Jane, whereas he was kind of lusting over Mjolnir.
That's true.
He was really lusting over. In reality, he was really lusting over Jane. And eventually, he gets both back. I mean, he gets Jane back, of course, and they hook up again. And of course, at the end of the movie, we see him with Mjolnir again. So I feel like Mjolnir was kind of a metaphor for who Jane was.
That's true. I kind of wish they wouldn't have had him. I kind of wish they wouldn't have had him end up with the hammer again, though, because I liked him more with Stormbreaker. But
so, and what's their iron there for him? But oh shit, yo, they're all huddled in the corner. I'm running away.
Somehow I'm doing #1 on our team, but
they're all huddled in a corner, and I'm not going back over there.
Yeah, I understand. Your feelings are justified. Trying to get Lay over here, but yeah, I just feel like there was some missteps. Ooh, that's a good question. One player. Yeah, I can answer that. He's now switching the topic to. He asked me a Cobra Kai question. All right.
Oh yeah.
So
let's talk about some Cobra Kai. We never talked about Cobra Kai in between. We gotta. How about this? How about we talk a little bit about Cobra Kai before we
dive into Star Wars Full Blown? Yeah. Okay. All right. So what do you think is next for Terry Silver in Cobra Kai? Well, so here's what I will say. Okay. So.
Yeah, you can take the wheel on this one because I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's.
I mean, I'm pretty educated, but you take the wheel on this one.
Obviously, he'll be going to prison, but I think the matter of the time is how long will his prison sentence be? Because he has more, like Kingpin and Daredevil, he has a lot more power and influence. So I think he can get himself out of trouble pretty easily. And there's a couple of situations in season 5. That Silver could turn against the good guys. For one, what's up?
All you gotta do is call Saul.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, he's got the money to. He could definitely do it. I mean, I think there could definitely be some legal things. But the other thing we have to remember is, even if he does stay in prison, you have to remember that Kreese is still gunning for him because of season 4. So, and Kreese is out. So if Kreese finds out what jail he's in, Kreese will get back in that jail just to get his revenge. So I do think they'll build up to a Kreese versus Silver potential showdown. But I also think something that a lot of people made theories about that I'll address is, if you noticed in season 5, when Silver talks to Johnny and Carmen in the elevator when they go and find out about their baby, he was there at the hospital. And Silver's not just going to stalk people just for the heck of it. He's a very intelligent person, you know? So, I have a feeling he was there for his own problems. And something that I've theorized about for a while is I think Silver is terminally sick. Like, I think he might be ill. Like, obviously he's been ill in the head because he's been crazy, but I think he might...
You think Terry Silver is, like ill? Like, terminally ill?
Yes, I think he could potentially be dying. It just is a matter of a clock of when he dies.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah,
sure.
So that is definitely...
I don't know, I'm pretty sure did they confirm that in season 5?
They never confirmed it, there was hints of it.
Damn close.
Yeah.
I think there's no doubt that he is definitely dying.
Yeah, there's hints of it. I could definitely, as much as I love Silver, I can definitely see Silver being gone sooner than later. Like, I think he'll still get to do a lot in the next season, but I think that they can do their end game without Silver because there is a lot of other moving pieces on the board that I think will be interesting to play around with. And I think there's even bigger things than just Kreese. Like, a lot of people are like, well, if Silver's gone, then Kreese is going to be the main threat. I'm like, no, not necessarily. There's other moving pieces that we got to deal with. But yeah, I do think that there will be some interesting things for him. I think his storyline will be pretty interesting. I personally am hoping before he does die, I want him to have one more proper showdown with Johnny, like a proper rematch, because I'd like to see Johnny as he gets back into training and stuff and his skill. It would be nice to see him kind of finally get to prove that he could beat him all along with the right focus. So I'd like to see that, just because Johnny does owe Silver some payback, and it'd be nice to see Johnny, because Johnny and Chosen were kind of, as a team, worked so well collaboratively together. It'd be cool for Johnny to be like, yeah, this is for me and for Chosen, just to kind of get that vengeance for him would be really cool. So I think that'd be nice to have. But yeah, I think there's gonna be some cool things with Silver. I think his arc will be interesting. Like I said, similar to Kingpin, I could see him even trying and operating things from prison. But I think what's really interesting is the fact that nobody wants to be in his version of Cobra Kai after what he did. So that's going to really affect him, and I can't wait to see how that plays out. Just because I think that having a man that's already terminally ill and broken like that is going to be a very interesting way to see things. And I'm very invested and curious in how that will go. So I guess that's kind of... Yeah, did you have any final thoughts on that, or does that kind of...
No, not really. I mean, you pretty much nailed it. I mean, what they did with Silver already, I think he's pretty much completed like anything he really needs to. I think if this is the last we see of Silver, which I highly doubt that, but if it is, I'm satisfied with what we got.
Yeah, I'm satisfied with what we got, but I definitely think
one last show out before he's gone forever.
Yeah, I definitely think that we'll get another big showdown with him. I think it's just depending on who it is. I personally hope, and this might be a hot take, I really hope that they don't have any more showdowns with Daniel and Silver, because they really
kind of did that to death.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They already proved it. They had Silver win, and then so one thing I will talk about that I do have a video about tomorrow is, or I guess today technically, is I saw people saying that because Daniel beat Silver, that Daniel is now infinitely one of the most superior fighters. But I want you guys to remember something. Silver was doing... Silver
about Daniel?
Yeah. So people were saying that Daniel's so superior just because he beat Silver one time. But
he's not, though.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing that you need to remember.
Everybody.
Yeah, and this is the thing that we need to remember, right? So, like, Daniel, he beat him using the Quicksilver technique. But as you can see how Silver's fighting... Look at the way Silver fights Daniel in the first fight against him versus in the second fight, right? Silver has more than enough energy to just easily finish Daniel off. That first time, I still think it's established, and while we will get more of him, and while he'll take some time to recover, they have established as Chosen as easily one of the best fighters on the show. So just for Terry Silver to be able to stand there and fight him in a weapons fight, well, Terry ended up cheating and coming out on top of that fight. I do think that Chosen left his impact on that situation, you know?
Yeah,
like I think Daniel was fighting a worn out Terry Silver, which is why as much as one thing I think that people might not think of that's pretty controversial is, so a lot of people are saying, like I said, they think Daniel is one of the stronger people now because he beat Silver. But the thing that I want to remind people is, right, Chosen was one of the best fighters ever, and he was able to take on Silver, and if given his way, he could have easily beaten him. And then, if it wasn't for being distracted by worrying about Johnny.
And you have to compare and contrast each character to their feats and who they defeated before, because if you look at the pattern, everyone's beaten Daniel at least once.
Yep.
Whereas Chosen's been beaten at one time by Daniel, but that was way back. Like,
and I also think
if we're talking current time right now, Chosen hasn't been beaten yet.
And I'd also like to remind people that Chosen's only lost so far, besides losing to Daniel back in Karate Kid 2, in his younger state. He's only lost 2 fights now, because he lost that fight and he lost against and he lost against Silver. But Silver cheated, so
yeah.
Yeah.
But lost that because he cheated, but
yeah,
kind of out of the draw.
Yeah, I feel like that was kind of like, for Chosen, it feels like that was a samurai loss. Like, I feel like he feels he claimed his honor and did what he could do, but it's a loss because he came there to do a job and he didn't get to finish that job. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I think if Chosen had his way, Silver wouldn't have went to prison. like I think that Silver would have been ended if, I think the writers had to make sure Chosen lost, because I think if that fight continued, I think Silver would be literally dead in the water. Like, I think he would have literally died. And so, okay, so it looks like we have a question from the audience. Do you think Jaden Smith will I will say no, because I just don't think that there's enough connection between the Karate Kid, newer Karate Kid in 2010, and the Cobra Kai characters. I just don't necessarily.
It's that question is more of a fantasy than anything.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the writers who write and the people who do the screenplay for Cobra Kai, they don't bring anyone in without any intention.
Yeah.
And they don't do just cameos. They do like people who have a purpose. And if they brought him in, to give him a purpose would just be like so just like wasteful and like so pointless. So
yeah, he would feel like a glorified Marvel cameo.
Like,
yeah, so I don't necessarily think I would want that. I mean, I get why people want it, but I don't necessarily think we need it. There's plenty of other people from the universe that I'd rather see cameo.
I mean, get the next Karate Kid. Well, I forgot who she is.
Yeah, well, Julie Pierce is going to come in at some point. It just depends when. And there's characters from her side of the universe that I have a couple theory videos that might be the setup for her. Like, I think that her enemy might actually show up to team up with Kreese, and then, since they both have military backgrounds, and then that might lead to some interesting directions for her coming in. But I think back to the previous topics before we move on to our awesome Andor topic, I want to address one more thing from the Daniel debate, right? Well, Johnny and Daniel have fought, and obviously Daniel won the All Valley Tournament one with his crane kick, right?
Yep.
When they tried to do the rematch, and even though both of them were knocked out, Johnny was able to not feel the full techniques of the pressure point technique, right? Like, he looked at it and it made his arm numb, but then he just kind of shook it off, right? So I knew from that moment, not just as a fanboy of the character, but just as somebody who actually knows how fights work and how characterization works, right? Even with Daniel's extensive training in Miyagi-Do, I'd like to bring up to the point that one sensei in Terry Silver's new dojo, one of Kim's senseis, it took Johnny and Chosen just to be able to stand up against one of them, right? Yeah. And with Johnny's motivation, because of his newborn child on the way, he didn't take out one, not two, not three, but four. He took out four by himself. Technically, there was the sixth, but Mike jumped in to take out the last two. But he took out those four very strong ones alone. Which, if you look at feats, Daniel beating Terry Silver is a plot armor situation. It's not a fair fight. Johnny annihilated those senseis. That he cut off Tyrone Woodley's hand. Dude, like, that's nuts. The fact he did that. Like and the guy that said they couldn't beat him, the blonde sensei, he kicked the living shit out of him and threw him into the freaking rack. So, if there's ever any debate over Daniel or Johnny, and also the fact that, once again, Daniel got back into Miyagi-Do at the right time at the end of the season, he was able to pick up his training. Johnny this entire last season did not train one day in any point during the season. He was focused on Robbie and Miguel and focused on taking care of Carmen, right?
Exactly.
And he jumps in and instantly is able.
He still kicks ass.
So that's what I'm saying.
No doubt
and also, I saw some people saying that there's no way someone that was drunk like that would put up that good of a fight. I'm like, dude, you'd be surprised with the right motivation. Some people have a tolerance and they can.
Okay, so that person does have a little bit of a point.
There is a point. Yeah.
But I mean, Johnny's probably built up.
I feel like Johnny's been drinking for so long in his life. Yeah.
Johnny's probably built up like I don't know what the word is, but he's built up the tolerance to that much alcohol. And two, for all that martial artists, like in martial artist fighting, like everything he does, all the training he does, his metabolism is probably higher than most people's. So he can take that shit.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's exactly what happened. A regular man doing that shit, like someone regular, he would be right in that case, but Johnny is an exception. Yeah, Johnny, this is absolutely an exception. I agree. That was kind of my point, was that Johnny's not most guys, so I think he definitely
he's not most guys. Johnny is.
I mean, I'm so just happy, like, about the fact that Johnny, like, I think it's amazing, like, when people overlook the fights, hardly anybody has talked about how crazy it is that Johnny just, like, yes, he was getting the shit kicked out of him, but when he realized what he was fighting for, and he kicked the shit out of them, it was just, oh my gosh, I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. I was just mind blown just by the fact that they did that, because it was, one, it proved that Johnny is still amazing, and we love him for it. Okay, what did one player ask? No, he asked another question. Let me see. But I think this topic for the Cobra Kai stuff is pretty well wrapped up. I think that's really cool. One player says, would you like the Fantastic Four and X-Men to appear in She-Hulk? Here's what I will say. That will never happen, because we're going to go based on the logistical reasons, right? Are we done talking about Cobra Kai now? Yeah, unless you had one more final thought on it that I wasn't aware of.
My final thought was just, like, despite what anyone says, there's no question that Daniel currently is one of the weakest adult fighters.
I'm glad that someone else finally agrees, because I've been telling people that all the time, but all the Danny fanboys.
It's not even fair. It's not even fair. Who do you not lose? Like, that's the question you need to ask yourself. Realistically, in a fight, who does he not lose to? If we're talking about right now, and there's no, you can't, like, maybe Mike Barnes, but that'll, like, that's...
Here's the thing with Mike Barnes. This is the thing I think about Mike Barnes. Right now, Mike Barnes is below both Johnny and Daniel at this stage, but within the next season, if say he goes and trains with Johnny for like a week in Eagle Fang, right?
Yeah.
Then he'll surpass Daniel. Because this is where I'm seeing... tomorrow I'm going to do a ranking of all the best adult fighters, right? This is who I believe the top 3 to be easily, right? So it's number 1, easily chosen. Number 2, number 2 is Silver. Number 3 is Johnny. Yep, it has to be. That is the main 3.
Chill out, bro.
What is he doing? He's shooting you? Yeah. Okay. So let's go to, and then 4. I would probably put. It's tough because I want Mike to be higher than Daniel because I think he can be, but at current state, it's just not there yet. You know, because he was away from karate for so long. Like, he's got the skills to be there. He just needs the training to get back out there. So I think he could easily get to that number 4 spot, but I think right now he's at number 5 and Daniel's at 4. But I think he could definitely get there and easily surpass Daniel. Because I think Daniel's problem is Daniel is not able to embrace, because part of being a martial artist is he's so stuck to the way that Miyagi-Do is, like the old ways, like that, what he thought Mr. Miyagi told him, that everything has to be about defense. And when he embraces offense, he only embraces it a little bit. He doesn't embrace all of it, you know? Like, when Johnny was willing to learn that there were 2 ways to fight, because I like to quote what Robbie said in season 4 to Daniel in the grocery store, right? He said, you and you, my dad, and Cobra Kai, they all think that your way is the only way. But he says there is no way. What matters is what works. And that's kind of where I think, okay, let's go. All right, so now it says 1 player, 2 questions. Would you like, okay, so let's answer the first one, then we'll answer the second one. Okay. So, so the first one was Fantastic Four. So I already said logistical, it's not going to happen, but from what I like.
Well, okay, let's move it. Fantastic Four, X-Men, show up as She-Hulk? No, just now. I thought I heard like a while back we heard somewhere that Jason Segal was supposed to show up as Ben
Grimm, yeah.
Which is weird. I don't know. Again, I don't know what's gonna happen.
And here's what I've heard. I've also heard
because they said that there was not gonna be a bigger cameo than Daredevil. And if Daredevil's coming next episode, then all bets are off.
Yep. So, I've also heard that apparently one of the reasons that they didn't do the whole cast reveal at D23 is this is going to be mind-blowing for people to hear, but even though they announced the director, I heard they haven't come down to a final for sure cast yet. Like, I heard they don't even have, like, even though there's been rumors of who's playing who, they don't even have a proper Fantastic Four, even the villain plan, or like none of that is done from what I understand, which I'm pissed about because honestly I blame the fact that we had to swap directors when we shouldn't have had to, and then all this other nonsense to go on to that on top of it, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's a wrap on the first question, but he asked the second one as well. This one will be interesting because this is you and me completely having to speculate. The next question is, what do you think will happen in Loki Season 2? You want to go first, or you want me to lead?
That's not even like. I mean, my answer is like pretty short. I have no fucking idea. We like literally. I think they showed. I think I heard that they showed footage at D23, but I haven't looked into that, so I don't know what's gonna go on with that. And honestly, I don't want to know. I want to be surprised because right now, other than like Kang being involved and Mobius obviously coming back, and I heard it's gonna be more focused on Renslayer too. Other than all those, like I saw the set photos, I really have no clue what's gonna be going on in Loki Season 2. And I'm
I would say it's gonna be I would say it's definitely gonna be even more multiverse than the first season from what I've seen from set photos. And with the whole Kang stuff that was set up at the end of Season 1, I think you're going to see a lot of changes of what this world is like now that, you know, if Kang really did take over, what does this look like now? So that's going to be kind of, we're going to see his vision. We might not see Kang, but we'll see what his world looks like from when he took over. Like, that's why they showed the statue and all that. And they just cast the guy who was Short Round in Indiana Jones and who was just in Everything Everywhere All at Once in the show. So we got new people coming in, so that will be interesting. And I think, I think it's going to be like, it's really going to come down to it's going to be very Kang focused. And I think you're going to, but it's also going to be still Loki. So but it's also up in the air because we don't know much. We haven't seen footage, and we just know from what we know from the set photos. But I do think that there will be some pretty crazy stuff. I thought Season 1 was great. I think this is going to be probably even better is the hope.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think that's honestly the best I can say on terms of that. Thank you guys so much for being here and asking questions. We really do appreciate it. It's always awesome to get to answer your questions. Even if we don't have the direct answer, it's even more fun to be able to speculate. Yeah, so sure. we love it. I definitely think that was a good question. Yeah, I definitely think that was a great question, and I do appreciate it. I think unless there's any more questions, we're getting ready to move on to the main event that we'll be talking about for a long time because it's so good.
I think FB is the only one here. I know. I don't know if he's still here now, but
we still have one.
Yeah.
They'll come in as we're talking.
Unless we have any more questions, which I don't think we do. at the moment.
I'm waiting to see. I'm waiting to see if he sends another message. All right, so 10-second warning. If you guys have any more questions, let us know right now. Otherwise, we're going to move on to the next topic because we do have our final topic for you guys today. And the reason we call it the final topic is because it's going to take the entire rest of the show because it's a long one. And it's literally almost 6 a.m.
That's funny.
So we've been talking for a long time. This is definitely our longest podcast so far.
I mean, we had to sit through all of Andor, which took a while, so...
Well, yeah, but we also, if you think about it, this time we really came prepared. We really came with topics. Like, you and I really dived in and...
We touched every single thing. We Marvel, DC, Cobra Kai, Star Wars... I'm kind of glad. I mean, this has to be the format from both.
I mean, yeah, we're always gonna make sure that there's things filled with it, and it won't always be the same, obviously, format because there's not gonna be DC news every week, but there'll be some things.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be related to any of those too.
Yeah.
Maybe
I think the main format will probably be. It will remain being Star Wars, Marvel, and then. We'll keep it Star Wars, Marvel, and then maybe like we'll say DC/HBO Max because there's also a lot of HBO Max shows we like to talk about too. Because like I know I gotta catch up still, but we gotta talk more about House of the Dragon. I have a couple episodes I need to watch that I haven't seen yet, but yeah, so that we can talk about as well. There's a couple other HBO Max shows we might want to talk about.
Yeah, especially when The Last of Us comes out, that's gonna be awesome.
When is that coming out?
I think early next year. I believe early next year or late this year. By the way, Han Solo's behind you.
Oh, thank you for letting me know.
He was. He's running. He's going that way.
He saw my curved lightsaber and got scared, shaking in his boots.
He curved the lightsaber.
Well, I mean, Dooku does have the sickest
hill.
hill.
We can also talk about Fortnite too. I mean, what do you? While we're waiting for like any more, what do you think of the new season?
I like the new season. I think the Battle Pass is a bit of waste of money, but
yeah, Battle Pass is a bit stale.
But I'm excited about Spider-Gwen because I think Spider-Gwen's pretty awesome, and I think it's cool they added the Spider-Verse look for her.
Yeah, they're definitely bringing Miles. Like Miles is definitely coming to shop this season for sure.
I just hate that they didn't do him in the Battle Pass. I think they needed to do him in the Battle Pass because I think they just it would have been nice to have two characters that we. I'm disappointed in the secret skin. I think the secret skin should have been Miles. That really bothers me that it's not Miles.
Yeah, well, they had to do because the main antagonist of the season is in there, so they had to fit room for them in there.
Yeah, too. That's true.
But the thing is they do is that they put one, like they did with Darth Vader. They have to have the whoever the tier 100 skin is. They always have a counterpart in the item shop. So they sell them later on. So with Rick, right, they sold Morty later on. With Vader, they sold Obi-Wan later on. I'm trying to think of anyone else. With Spider-Man, they sold Green Goblin later on. So they're probably going to do, obviously, Gwen, and now that they're going to sell Miles and Alex later on. When they get
hopefully we get, to make up for it, hopefully we do get some really good... Ooh, that's an interesting question. So So now our new question is rank the Thunderbolts from worst to best. Are we talking about the confirmed lineup or just like Thunderbolts who have been Thunderbolts in the comics?
It would make sense for them to be the confirmed lineup.
Okay, that sounds good.
Let me go first.
You want to go first? All right.
I'm not gonna go off. I'm not gonna go off like you are. So
I wasn't gonna go off. I was just gonna say what ones I don't like and why. But
so what was it? Worst to best?
Yeah.
Okay, worst to best. Alright. I'm trying to think of everyone on the team. Okay, worst to best guys. Alright. Taskmaster at worst. Taskmaster, Val. Because, I mean,
there's no reason for them to be on the extra team,
Red Guardian, Yelena, Ghost, John Walker, and then Bucky.
I'm surprised that Yelena is lower than than Ghost. I would have thought Ghost would have been worse for you than Yelena. So that kind of surprised me because I thought you were a big Yelena supporter.
Yelena's just, I feel like, I mean, I like Yelena, but I think Ghost has more to bring because we've only seen a little bit of Ghost, and okay, first of all, she's the only one with actual superpowers.
She is also the only one that was actually developed as a actual anti-hero properly, so
yeah,
that's
everyone
actually
else,
nice.
Everyone else has either been just a bad guy or a good guy at one point.
I agree.
None of them are really anti-heroes.
Yeah, I agree. I
mean,
would say
John Walker to an extent because he kind of tried saving people at the end, but I mean, even like.
Dude, I love that you put John Walker
the fucking Red Guardian on fucking Thunderbolts, like that guy's a goddamn fool. He doesn't deserve to be on there.
And they're doing it for the comedy reasons of Marvel, which is so sad. Like so.
I know. Yeah, exactly. They're putting him so he can do the comic release. Because that's what
I feel like they're trying to immediately make Thunderbolts more like the Suicide Squad than they already were in the comics.
Yeah, I know,
and that really bothers me. I will say.
You wrote way from worst to best.
All right, so obviously. So let's see. Obviously, let's start. It goes Taskmaster, also Val still, because I agree that she shouldn't be on the team. She should just be the Nick Fury. That doesn't make any sense. Then I'm gonna go Red. I think our lists are actually almost exactly the same. I think there might be a couple tweaks, but I think I would say Val, and then it's gonna be Red Guardian because I do not like the idea of Red Guardian being a Thunderbolt. It just does not. I love David Harbour, don't get me wrong, and I want to see more David Harbour, but the Thunderbolts is not the way. It's not the way. I mean, I can see him getting killed so easily, and it's easily gonna probably be from one of the teammates, honestly. Like I could see John Walker finding a way to secretly kill him, or there'd be. One of my biggest problems with this team, and I don't know if you noticed this one, and this is going to actually make a lot more sense when we go down the list. There are 3 people on this damn team. No, 4 because of copy abilities. There are 4 people on this team that are wielding shields. Or potentially have.
4 people, oh yeah, John Walker, right?
John Walker. Bucky's also wielded the shield for a little bit, even though he didn't have the mantle. He's taken Cap's shield a couple times and used it. And then you have, so you got John Walker, Bucky, Red Guardian, and of course, stupid Taskmaster. Like,
so,
what the hell?
Realistically, you have 3 people with shield with a shield. Like, if they all had a shield, 3 people with a shield. Like,
I don't think Bucky will.
The Thunderbolts, dude.
I mean, Bucky won't have a shield, but I mean, it's just. I mean, at least as far as I know. He better have his guns and knives. Like, screw that. No. I will say So if I do, so we had Valentina, Red Guardian, then I'll put Yelena like you did, because I feel Ghost definitely should be higher than Yelena, and then I think ours is exactly the same. Actually, I think we are in a complete agreement.
Yeah.
Because I obviously have Bucky at number 1 because Bucky is one of my favorite Marvel characters, and I'm the most. He's been a.
Is that you, Joe?
Oh, was what me?
Are you Dooku?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like,
no.
I was wondering if that was you or not.
Yeah, no, this is me. Like literally, I feel like Bucky has the most potential because he's been the Thunderbolts in the comics. I'm very excited for John Walker because I want more John Walker, because no matter how many people say it in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I love John Walker. I love the idea of John Walker. I love the character so much. Like, not...
Yeah, he's amazing. I think he's definitely one of the better characters from Phase 4.
Yeah, and people give him such a bad rep just because they don't like that he dismembered the Captain America shield, but that's the point of his character, is that he's just a raging, awesome monster.
He's crazy, man. He's crazy. That's what you love about him. You want to see him like that.
I mean,
the kind of character that
the closest we're going to get to an unhinged Cap is him, and that's what we love. So, and that's honestly one of the reasons I love it. And so with Bucky,
it's like a Homelander if he didn't have power, like if he didn't have
exactly.
That's
the perfect description, honestly. Yeah, I completely agree. I think our lists are very justified.
I mean, he literally is Homelander. He has this determination to be perfect. This determination to be the greatest, to be the next best thing, right? I mean, he literally.
I was so shocked when I watched that show for the first time, and they gave him so much background and focus. I remember when
I'm glad now that they did.
Yeah, because I remember when the trailers, like, I was just like, okay, he's going to be here to be established. It's going to cause a conflict between him and Sam over the shield. And then, of course, he'll be U.S. agent because that's what we all knew from the comics. And that was all I really thought we were going to get with him. And then when I saw, like, all the background story and how he kind of has that, like, Cap mentality from the beginning. And then he gets broken by sacrifice. Really hits him where it hurts. Like, he loses someone similar to Cap. He loses someone that's very close to him.
Yep.
And
wait, I forgot. I know his name was Lamar Hoskins, but I forgot his superhero name.
Yeah, I don't remember his superhero name.
Like Battlestar or like...
Yeah, it was Battlestar, but yeah, dude, he was pissed.
Yeah, he was angry, bro.
Dude, I love that. I love the fight between... I would too,
though. Like, imagine your best friend, right? Imagine your best friend, and then you see him get slaughtered, like...
See, that's exactly why, as much as he's a lunatic, I completely relate to him, because if my best friend was killed in front of me, I would go absolutely apeshit.
I would go nuts,
without
bro.
Without a dude.
You are a dead dude.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it would just be gone. It's like, no, I agree. I think he was great. I can't wait to see more of him. I can't wait, since we almost seen one shot of it, I can't wait to see that Thunderbolts, well, sorry, not Thunderbolts, that U.S. Agent costume in better light, because as much as his Cap suit was okay, I love
the black and the red look really good on him.
And imagine when we get a scene, because I'm imagining Thunderbolts is probably going to be a little bit, even though it's a movie, hopefully they'll make it a little bit more edgy, right? More like the Suicide Squad. Like, I don't know if we'll get an R rating, but if we could just get one scene of him beating the shit out of someone and the blood is all over that black and red suit.
Do you really think they're gonna make it R rating?
I don't think they will, but I'm just saying, like, a little tiny, like, kind of like the Disney Plus TV-14 things, just a little, like, magic paint splash of, like, just a scene of that suit just a little bit bloodied up would be amazing.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, I would just love to see that, I think. I think that'd be great.
Definitely.
But yeah, I think... I think we're on the same page in terms of the Thunderbolts. We hate the roster. I think our ranking is very justified. I hope Zemo's involved, but I'm not going to get my hopes up because I'm already feeling burned out from them as it is.
Yeah, sure.
You guys got any more questions, or was the Thunderbolts thing your last one? Let us know. But yeah, I honestly think that was a very interesting's a bad word. Like, I feel like I'm surprised. Like, I expected people to come. I saw a couple of people come at my take on the Thunderbolts roster. I was like, you guys are idiots. Like, you guys really don't understand why this is a bad thing. Do you? Like, when I thought we were gonna see Red Guardian again, I assumed it would be in another, like, maybe show up and have a nice talk with Yelena. Maybe just like, maybe there'd be a little fun Marvel short with him and Cap because they had all the jokes in Black Widow. Yeah. I did not think, hey, let's put him in the Thunderbolts. Yeah, exactly. Maybe for a bigger conflict.
To see him come back to Thunderbolts, like, you know, I'm not gonna say I'm not surprised, because of course Marvel would put him in that. I guess we didn't really think about that.
I think the thing we didn't think about is that Marvel's probably going, oh, David Harbour's really hot right now because Stranger Things. What happened?
So I fell off the edge.
You did?
I fell off the ledge.
Yeah, like I just get the vibe that, like, they're like, oh, well, Stranger Things is like one of the hottest things on the planet, so let's go David Harbour.
Bring David Harbour in and make him, like, make him say funny shit.
That's why I guarantee you.
Let's get David Harbour in and make him say the only way to defeat blah 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 is to become the Thunderbolts.
That's why watch, we'll get a Marvel project in a year or so, or maybe even before that, and it's gonna be Millie Bobby Brown as a character, and she's gonna get like her own team or her own massive spotlight right away, just for being in Stranger Things.
Bobby Brown, like fucking the daughter.
They'll make her like the new Songbird or some stupid shit.
Oh yeah.
Like yeah, it's like
Songbird.
It's a Thunderbolts character from the comics. I know deep cuts.
And you know what sucks? The Thunderbolts roster in the comics are so diverse. But when they do it in the movie, it's like a bunch of just foot soldiers. Like what's up with that?
You know, honestly, one thing I don't understand is when I ranted about the Thunderbolts, what I really need to do is I need to literally go and should just do a 2-hour rant about fucking Taskmaster, because the fact that Taskmaster is being included really pisses me off. And you know what's stupid? It's not even that they're just including the female Taskmaster. It's that if you go by every list, when have you ever known a character of Taskmaster to be a Thunderbolt?
Never.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, FBE. Yeah, he's killed, yeah, but he's never been a member of the team, right?
That Jedi is skywalking over the competition.
From what I remember, I don't think Tony Masters ever partaked in that team,
no,
right?
He didn't. And you know what? If they used him as right, he could work as a Thunderbolt, but they screwed him up. They screwed it up, so no, now all
and they went for it all to have the ultimate, and they went to it all to have their ultimate little venomous twist at the end of Black Widow, and that's what it's so stupid. They could have the real Tony Masters as an actual real rival to Black Widow in the Black Widow movie, and shown a real proper fitting end to her character, right? But instead they go with this wannabe daughter of the person that she newly killed. I agree, FBE. We both have the same feelings.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't...
They screwed it up too bad. Like, if they do too many more Tony Masters, I'm happy, but they should have done it right the first time. I mean...
At this point, I would prefer Tony Masters as a Deadpool villain than a major MCU connected villain.
Yeah.
Because honestly, at least they could do him justice.
Or a Spider-Man villain or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I said Deadpool because I think a rated R Taskmaster would just be awesome, and to see Deadpool just like having troubles with him and fanboying over him like he was Juggernaut would be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Or he could be a good nemesis for a Punisher thing. That could happen too. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's actually a really good idea.
Yeah, so I think that could be pretty cool.
I don't know. I mean, whenever like the question would be when do they do that? Like, because they did the whole Mandarin thing, and then it took them like 10 years later to get to the real Mandarin. So if we don't get Tony Masters in the next few years, I'm just giving up all hope.
Yeah, like how long are they gonna do that to people? How long are they gonna literally make people wait for a character that they really want?
Well, I'm just saying, if they fuck up Doom, Magneto, or anyone else for the MCU, all bets are off, man. All bets are off.
If they do fuck up Doom or even Magneto or any of the two, I am leaving the MCU without question.
Me too, man.
Like, there's no way.
There's no doubt, dude.
Like, I have my problems now, but if they ruin two of my favorite villains, I'm out. There's no way. And I meant when I said the other day about one of these female heroines being able to beat one of my main villains, I'm done. There's no way. Oh, FB said the same. Good.
Oh shit, I fucked up.
Like, just imagine, dude.
Fucked up.
What did you do? What did you do?
I jumped off the edge.
Oh no. Like, dude, just the idea of like Fucking sure.
What did FBE say?
He says he agrees with us about we leave the MCU if Doom and Magneto get ruined. Like, dude, I just can't stomach the fact of one of the newer female heroes that everyone loves being able to just completely annihilate someone like Doom or Kang. Just doesn't sit well with me. Like, it was Carol, it could maybe be believable a little bit, but...
Carol or... No, I was gonna say She-Hulk, but no, not even She-Hulk.
It'd be Carol or Wanda, but I don't know how Wanda could be used in a hero capacity after her whole Multiverse of Madness stunt.
I guess she could have like a redemptive arc or something, but then again, it's like...
Yeah.
What the fuck was the whole point of doing that whole villain shit?
I'd prefer they just use them as supporting characters and not have them land the main blows on our main villains. Because Thanos was one thing, but let the real heroes actually handle the superheroing that can actually handle
Superman has been teased for Black Adam. Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, we did. I think he's just going through the track, but yeah, I did hear that there was teased. Oh, I got third that game. Wow. That's fucking sad.
Suck, dude.
How was I literally the only one from my entire team that made it up to the board?
Because I didn't do shit during the entire
I got
game.
the most.
You got 2 eliminations.
Yet I still did better than everyone else on the team.
Look at our entire team. Our entire team got jack shit.
I was the only one doing anything apparently.
Michael Velocina says Darth Vader is a badass.
Absolutely.
I agree, man. I agree.
Darth Vader is very
the
badass.
Most badass characters in fiction.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the most badass. I was crushing it as Obi-Wan last. Whenever I did Jedi last one. Oh, someone else got
sorry,
Jedi.
I'll give you Obi-Wan one. Sorry.
No worries. It's all good. You're fine. Yeah, no, I feel like those are just kind of like. I think I realized after everything we've been seeing lately, even if they do some cool things with Daredevil and She-Hulk, I think what we're going to talk about in a minute is watching.
I'm worried.
I'm very worried. I'm very worried.
I think Daredevil's fucked for this next episode.
Honestly, he probably is. Honestly, but we have to remember one thing, right?
Let's just not get our hopes up at all.
Let's remember number one thing, okay? Anything that happens with him in She-Hulk doesn't have to be how he is in the MCU overall. So, if they do him this weird way in the show, just remember Born Again can still be hopefully great.
Who wins
Darth Vader or Thanos? So here's the way I look at it. Okay.
That question depends, because
this is what I said.
Thanos with the stones or without the stones?
This is what we'll say.
With the stones, Thanos has a chance. Without the stones, nah.
You know what? You don't want to know something crazy, and I might get flack for this. I think, as much as I love Thanos, if is this specifically MCU Thanos we're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, if we're doing movie versus movie version, I think, okay, let's see, what would you think would happen if Vader never died on the Death Star? I'll answer that one next. Yeah, I'm definitely saying Vader on both these, because stones or not, dude, Vader is a tough fucker. He ain't going out without a fight. Like, he...
He's not going out in general, bro. You don't fucking kill Darth Vader.
Yeah.
There's a reason why there's a reason why you cannot say that the said person killed Darth Vader, because no one killed Darth Vader. Darth Vader made the choice to kill himself to save his son. So in continuity, no one has bested. I mean, people have fought Darth Vader, but no one's killed him. I mean, Obi-Wan could have in that finale. He could have killed him, I guess so. But he chose not to. I mean,
that's true.
That's an exception, though, because I mean, he was like, Obi-Wan was like God status, but
and that was like a writing standpoint. Yeah,
Vader at full power, he's unkillable.
You really think? Okay, I guess that's a fair point. FBE says
I got killed.
Thanos with the Power Stone wins no matter what. I'm like,
what did he say? Thanos with Power Stone wins?
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, okay, the Power Stone. How does he win with the Power Stone? Because we don't really know the extent of what the Infinity Gauntlet can do.
Yeah, I
In
agree.
different ways. Let's say he used a power blast, right? What's stopping Vader from just using the Force and directing that power blast right back at him?
And here's the thing
Right?
we also have to take into account,
Vader,
right?
the Force is one of the strongest entities you can use in any fight because it just deflects whatever the fuck you're using, no matter what. Plus, I mean, Vader could, if he wanted to, Vader could just choke him out, like, easily.
I know
not to
he's.
mention that Vader is deadly with his lightsaber.
I know. Yeah, that's the other thing he said. Now FB is saying, remember 2014 Thanos faced the Avengers without the stones. Yes, but let's remember
that was different because that Vader was a more war-hungry Vader, or not Vader. That Thanos was more war-hungry Thanos who was out for blood. Let's say okay, but again, he didn't have the stones. I think Vader still would have won. If we're talking peak Vader. We're talking like Vader at his fullest potential. Vader wins easily. Vader is one of the. I mean,
if we're gonna pick a specific, if we're gonna pick a specific timeline, Vader. If we get Vader from any specific timeline, Vader from the
bro,
from right after.
Teammates, bro, what the fuck? I'm like literally getting killed and there's no one around.
Vader from literally the end of Rogue One versus any version of Thanos is just like. Nah, fuck it. He wins. There's no way. Like, okay, versus against the strongest versions of the Avengers. Yeah, I know he fought them, but
because then again, okay, but then Vader could be any of the strongest. Even that Vader could be Captain America. He could be Iron Man. Potentially Thor. Like, if I think Thor and Vader would be a good fight. I think Thor would probably win, but Vader, I mean, that would be a very tough match.
Yeah, I think it'd be tough. I still think Vader comes out on top of those.
Vader fighting Thanos with stones. Like, let's say he fought him with the stones, right? It's still a hard match for him because Thanos has to be at a point, at a distance where he couldn't. Vader wouldn't be able to do anything to him.
And that's the other thing we need to take into account.
That would be the only chance of surviving.
And the only chance for Thanos would be
also,
that.
Also, what's stopping Vader? Sorry, I'll let you say. What's stopping Vader from using the Force to slip that gauntlet right out of his hands and into his hand? Right?
That's exactly what I thought about, right? Like, so like everyone's like, well, Thanos would just use the stones. But what if the stones aren't on the gauntlet when Vader
exactly.
Yeah, I'm going Vader all the way because I'm with Vader because Vader just he would
Thanos
know
is stronger,
what to do.
Like pound for pound, like Thanos. Like if we're talking physically, yes, Thanos is stronger. But if we're talking metaphysically, then no, not like we're talking about everything else, like powerfulness. Vader is more powerful than Thanos could ever do.
Thanos may
agility, I agree with that because Vader can't move around that much.
Yep.
Thanos better durability. I guess so.
Also, you're missing one important point of this entire situation is Thanos was able to he might have been able to do some crazy things, but Iron Man with nanotech was able to land a hit on Thanos. A hit. Now, yes, it wasn't a huge hit, but it was a hit. Like, Iron Man couldn't even land a hit on Vader without a chance. Nanotech or no nanotech, he would not even touch him. There's no way. Like, come on. Like,
has better IQ. I think they both do the same about it. Vader's very smart.
Yeah, Vader has better skill.
Battle IQ? Absolutely not. Vader has way better battle IQ.
Yeah, he has way better battle IQ.
By miles.
Yeah, Vader's skill.
Absolutely not. Vader has better skill by miles again.
Yeah, Vader definitely.
I don't think SBE's ever watched a Star Wars movie with Vader in it.
Yeah, because Vader just has he's got ultimate home field advantage.
In terms of combat and like that kind of like it's not even close. It's not even.
Thanos has more experience. No.
Nope. Again, no. He has not had more experience. Here's the villains. Yeah, so let me search your own villains. Okay, or you're just gonna okay, whatever.
Thanos has better AP.
What does that mean, AP?
What does AP mean? I'm confused.
Experience? No, yeah, Thanos has more experience. That's not true. He simply doesn't.
Vader's
A
done
lot of
things
these
that
were just- they're just simply not
has
true.
more power. He says.
What do you mean power? That question depends. Because if we're talking like metaphysically, no. The Vader literally has the Force on him, like full power of the Force, which is more powerful than pretty much anything in the Marvel universe.
Yeah,
I
there's
mean,
no.
unless we're talking about sorcery, which Thanos does not have access to, he's not more powerful. Thanos has better abilities? Again, no. Vader literally has the Force.
Thanos is only.
Thanos is physically strong, but he can't
Yeah.
like change. Like he doesn't have like.
And Thanos
without
may
the
have
gauntlet,
strength.
He really doesn't
Yeah.
have any abilities.
Yeah, that's the thing. And with his strength, and without the gauntlet, or even with the gauntlet, those abilities are limited based on what Vader would be able to do, because Vader can fully manipulate everything around him. Like, he can throw
Vader
things
has
at
better
him.
weapons? Oh, wow! You're gonna
Yeah.
give that one to Vader, obviously.
Why would you say he has better abilities? The only abilities he has is because of the gauntlet.
Thanos has done bigger feats.
No.
No, he hasn't. Vader has taken on Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's taken on Count Dooku. He's taken on who else did he take on? He took on Luke Skywalker. He took on Palpatine at some point.
He
right?
also killed and nearly extinguished an entire group of the most powerful wizarding,
yes,
sorcery.
exactly.
Like, yeah, no.
Yeah, and Thanos cannot say the same. If we're talking about a movie MCU Thanos, that's not true at all. I think Thanos' only feats are really like Doctor Strange, Iron Man, and Hulk. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I guess all the other like Avengers on there, but the Avengers really were very unprepared for him. So they.
Thanos has low, medium difficulty 10-4. What do you mean 10-4?
He's saying that Thanos wins 10-4.
Debatable.
That's not true. Vader wins like that fight. Thanos does not win against Vader. Like, I meant as more experience as a villain. He doesn't though.
Vader's around in way more movies than even.
And he simply does it, dude. Watch Clone Wars, bro. Watch Clone Wars. You will see Vader's.
Also, let's also remember, Thanos didn't do anything until he was older. Vader was already a problem when he was a child.
Thanos literally lets everyone else do his dirty work for him. And only up until Infinity War, he hasn't done shit. He lets everyone else do the stuff for him, and then he decides to do stuff when it comes to Infinity War.
Yeah, I agree.
And even then, he does subpar like stuff.
We're not biased. We love both Marvel and Star Wars, but I've grown my entire.
Absolutely, we are not biased at all. I would love to give it to Thanos, but he just doesn't have a chance. He just doesn't. He doesn't stand a chance against Vader.
Yeah, there are just too many things with Vader that just go in his way. There is nothing in Marvel that can counter the Force. It doesn't exist. Even the best sorcerers, like say Doctor Strange at his highest level, they would struggle with Vader.
He would,
because
definitely.
Because there's nothing that Doctor Strange can do in terms of his magic that would be like. I don't think there is a.
Dude, if like, well, I think an awesome scenario. If Doctor Strange brought Vader into the mirror dimension, Vader could use the Force to crush the mirror dimension. Like he could literally destroy it and break it into pieces.
There is literally no limit. Yeah, there is literally no limit to what Vader can do in terms of like what the Force and what he knows. Like he
definitely.
Like from physicality, yes, there's limitations. But if he has all of his Force abilities, there's no. And like, Vader's the type of person where, unlike Thanos, where Thanos would like want to finish the fight and get the fight done as soon as he could, Vader would take his time. Vader might not even use his lightsaber right away. He might toy with Thanos like he did Reva and just like, oh, look at me, I'm using the Force, pushing you around, doing what I want. Oh, now take the saber.
FBE said way before he said it should be male to tap faster. No offense to women. You're not offending them because that's what he is in the comics. He's male, so he should be male.
Yeah, I agree.
Be Tony Masters, not Antonia
Drake, whatever her name is.
Absolutely.
But yeah, Thanos wins. Like, there's no doubt about that.
Or not Thanos, Vader. Sorry.
Yeah. You know, I'm even gonna, since this debate came up, since we actually had this debate, I'm gonna make a video. I'm gonna make a video. I'm gonna definitely
I
make
don't
a
think you should
video.
make a full-length video. I think you should make a short. I think a short would work. Just like explaining, like, you know.
Yeah, I'll do
maybe
a
like
short of it, like, explaining, yeah, just like under 60 seconds why Vader would just destroy. That'd be awesome. Being as a huge Vader fan, I would definitely do that.
Vader just like, I mean,
Dude, he just slaps.
fucking Vader.
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck? Like, okay, if we're thinking about a good fight for Vader, I would go to DC. I would say Darkseid versus Vader. That's a good fight.
That's a good fight. I think Darkseid. I mean, if you put Thanos, Darkseid, and Vader in the same room, Darkseid's clapping both of them without question.
Yeah, I think Vader could stand a chance, but Darkseid, I mean, his Omega Beam is pretty much like you can't.
I mean,
like,
anytime I've seen anyone say that Thanos even has a chance against Darkseid, I just laugh at their face.
I know, it's so funny, dude.
It's no way.
It's hilarious how people think Thanos could like go toe to toe with Darkseid. Darkseid would fucking clown him.
I mean, let's remember that Thanos without the stones was getting clapped by Cap with the hammer and the shield. So, I mean, see, I know this. Lightning would not stop Vader. If Thor had Stormbreaker and Lightning at him, Vader would not. He would not let that.
Let's go, boys.
He would not let that shit fly. He would sit there like blocking it, like, nah, bitch. What are you doing?
Yeah, for sure.
I also love the fact that Vader, even though he's evolved and everything, he definitely He definitely is still petty and just like will clap you at nonstop. Like, oh man.
I think one of the funniest things that like Vader's ever said is from the Force Unleashed game, where he at the end of the game he comes back and he says, "You came back. You said you would stay away." He's like, "I lied."
Yeah, that would be awesome, FBE. I'm gonna make a short about Vader versus Thanos for sure.
It's just how petty he is and how like he literally could just prove himself to be like, just like he does whatever he wants. No one tells. He's never gonna break a promise he's gonna keep. Like no one tells him what to do.
Well, yeah, I actually really like this book that's actually canon. Even though Vader's lightsaber will never return. What do you mean? Oh, you mean in Fortnite? Yeah. That's unfortunate. It would be nice to see return.
I now need the 3 gauntlet done. That's for a battle which you want to.
Oh, yeah, I get what you mean. Then Fortnite, yeah. That'd be interesting to see the Infinity Gauntlet versus the lightsaber. Although, that's different because it's in Fortnite, so the Infinity Gauntlet was more powerful. If you're talking about just weapons, like, the people wielding the weapons are really, like, what makes the battle happen. But if you say, let's say you give the Infinity Gauntlet and the lightsaber to just 2 random people, right? The person with the gauntlet would win. Because, I mean, the gauntlet has infinite power. Whereas the lightsaber, it's a strong weapon, but it doesn't really do anything, so it's something that can change reality.
It's gotta be the wielder,
The person who wields it is what matters.
Because I definitely think that when Thanos started to try and use the Reality Stone, dude, Darth Vader would have whipped that saber across that gauntlet before he could even, like,
I know, dude. He would have, dude. He absolutely would have. Dude, I think it would be fucking awesome if, at one point, dude, like, they need to, like, this would be an awesome what if, but I know people don't like mixing and matching different universes, but if the Avengers were, like, struggling to fight Thanos, and Doctor Strange had to pull someone in from a different reality, fucking Darth Vader walked through, and he said, "Hey man, we need your help." That would be awesome, dude.
Could you imagine if they pulled that off, just a Disney and Marvel crossover? They're just like, we need to resurrect. You can resurrect the dead, right? Bring Darth Vader back. We need Darth Vader.
My God,
Like, fuck, and then Darth Vader's just automatically an Avenger that you can just call on whenever. Shit, that'd be great. See, that would be fan service that I'd be okay with. Because it would be like, okay.
Yeah, and it doesn't for a point too. It just, that would be fucking awesome. Like, that's something that everyone wants to see. There's no one who wouldn't want to see that, bro.
Just Darth Vader comes out of a portal.
How many arms does Grievous need?
That'd just be so fucking sick, dude. Oh my god. Now, next time we play Darkseid, I have to play Vader because I'm just got Vader in my life.
Now I want to, yeah, exactly.
Like,
dude, I want to see just fucking Darth Vader just trash talk Thanos. Like, I want to see Thanos saying, like, I'm more powerful than you can possibly imagine. And then the Vader's coming in and, like, I don't know what he would say, but he would say something really clever.
Dude, if anybody, canon or not canon debate, anybody, if we were even if we were gonna go comic level, dude, if we were gonna pull the comic debate into any regards, read those Marvel comic Vader comics, cause any comic version of Thanos, oh god, it's over. Yeah, I don't even think Thanos could survive bleeding a lightsaber crystal. Like, I don't even think he could do it.
Not.
Like, that process
you know
is
even more scary, dude. The scariest thing you could possibly imagine is Darth Vader having the Infinity Gauntlet, like wielding that shit with a lightsaber. Oh my god. That would scare the shit, bro. People would shit themselves if literally Captain America or Iron Man had to fight Darth Vader with the Infinity Gauntlet. They would shit themselves and run. They wouldn't stand a fucking chance.
I would love to see that. I would love to see that video because that would be the most pitiful death I think Tony could have ever had. Because I feel like Tony would be like, I got all the technology. I got this. I got my own gauntlet. I'll do what I want. And then Vader just ends up with both gauntlets. It's just like, nah, it's not happening.
God. What if Vader just like started like he had the gold gauntlet and then the dark green gauntlet both had Infinity Stones in him and he's wielding two lightsabers.
Dear
Ultimate
God,
Vader.
Yeah,
okay, and now this is going crazy. Now
and then
he's
he's just
crazy.
and then because then think about it, right? He can create anything in reality, right? So if he has two gauntlets, he's got his saber and then he's got an entire saber made completely out of reality because reality can be whatever he wants, right? So get fucked. Could you imagine a fucking reality saber just like whatever reality called for, he was just set. See, the fact that so many people don't know how strong Vader is proves that as good as good of a director as George Lucas is, it just clears because those movies are a bit dated. We definitely need something with Vader that really just a one-on-one fight against Obi-Wan just didn't do it. We need something that really is like worthy to like show people that this man still means business.
Yeah.
I think maybe if they do a proper rematch, because I think there were rumors of doing of seeing the Ahsoka versus Vader fight from Rebels at a different perspective. Maybe that would do something that would really shake things up. I mean, if
that would be interesting.
I've always said that I don't know how they would do it, but my dream what if fight, and there's actually a YouTube channel that has made an entire movie about this concept, is for Mace Windu to survive Palpatine and to fight Vader. That has always been my favorite idea of a fight, because just those two people fighting,
awesome.
They already have beef with each other. It seems like perfectly set up.
Imagine Vader like surviving. Well, he'd be too old for that, right? He would probably have been dead by then, I think, right?
I would have liked to see if Vader survived. One thing I would like to do, what if
I would think Vader he probably would have been pretty close to dead, but
I wonder if he
was in the sequel trilogy.
I wonder what if Jedi Vader. I'd like to see if Vader like
Vader's available now.
Oh, he is. Okay, cool. Sick.
Dark side.
Yeah, dude. For Darkseid. for Darkseid. Like, I just think that would be incredible. Oh, someone else took Vader. That sucks. Oh, whatever. Oh no, it's available now. Sick. Yeah, dude. I just like. Are you kidding me? That shit would just be incredible. Like, just to be able to like. What was that sound? Someone was messing with their mic.
What do you hear?
Oh, I heard like almost like a record player.
Can you try and mimic the sound?
It was like a like DJ like so.
You're funny. No, but for real, like that'd be hilarious just to see that happening.
No, I'm seriously gonna do the Vader versus Thanos thing though, because I need to educate the fandom. They need to know that Vader would clap him in any regards whatsoever. Holy shit, dude. And that's not even me as a Vader fan, that's me as just like a factual person, like, yo, you have no idea. Like, I've seen so many Marvel fanboys where people like, it's Thanos all day. I'm like, nah, get out of here. Shit, I killed myself, I killed Anakin. I guess I'm not gonna exist.
You committed suicide.
Shit, Palpatine was about to be pissed at me. I almost killed his granddaughter.
I mean, would that be such a bad thing, though?
No, it'd be good for me. It'd be bad for Palps because he needs his he needs his youth elixir.
I mean,
and the other question we haven't answered.
Here's a really good what if. What if Palpatine never had children?
Oh
the sequel
god.
trilogy would be a much better trilogy.
Yeah, it would be a much better place. But then what would be the threat? Just Han Solo's bitch-ass son?
Who fucking needs a threat? As long as we don't have Rey in our lives, we're good.
Did you see, speaking of Rey, did you see what I did?
What'd you do?
Someone was force choking Rey, and I was like, no, that's not enough. I started grabbing my saber and started swinging at her when she was already, like, gasping for air. Oh, shit. That was funny shit. I could feel her gasping for air, so I just said, fuck that, and just started, like, slicing her throat.
Oh, man, that died, Joe.
Oh, shit, you want payback, bitch? Oh, really? Gonna mind trick me? Of course, that's your only way of winning that fight.
I want to see a live-action Vader fighting Rey, bro. Because you know how that would go.
If you had the right people writing it, I would hope so.
Yeah.
As long as Kathleen Kennedy wasn't involved in it, it would probably go pretty sweet.
Because you know what Kathleen Kennedy would do? She would
make Rey win. BS. Yeah, she'd come up with some BS that Rey.
Some BS. Yeah.
Rey would be like, I'm the Jedi and the Sith.
Like literally throughout every movie, they just give her plot armor.
They do. Every movie they come up with a reason why she's stronger.
She's not even that good of a Jedi, and she still manages.
She shouldn't be able to even beat Kylo in the first movie, yet she does.
She shouldn't be able to beat fucking Palpatine. Darth Sidious, my man.
Don't even get me started on that shit. That shit pissed me off enough.
I mean, even Vader, to an extent, feared Darth Sidious. And we have Rey coming up on his shit just beating him with 2 lightsabers, like what?
Well, the thing that's fucked is, Vader could have always killed Palpatine, but Vader's just, he's a cool character that he waits for his moment. Rey made it look so easy, which doesn't make it anywhere realistic because she's nowhere near as powerful as Vader is.
She's like, I am all the Jedi, and then proceeds to kill, like what the fuck?
Bitch, Vader was the chosen one. He could have taken Palps out whenever he wanted to.
Bro, who wrote this bullshit?
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking, bro.
I totally agree.
Okay, so he's attacking. Alright,
I think we're ready. Yeah, we're wrapping. Alright, we're finally. We had a nice long debate.
We gotta get this over with now.
Yeah. So. Alright, guys. So we watched Andor's first 3 episodes, and now we're gonna talk about it.
I'll let you go first. You just tell me to just let it all out.
Yeah. Alright, so guys, we've been waiting for these episodes. It's so awesome that we got the first 3. Now, for some audiences, just to let you guys know, this show is going to be a bit of a slow burn for you. It's not like the normal Star Wars show. It's not going to be lightsaber fights and, like, space battles every minute or whatever your format is. It's gonna be much more serious toned, much more for a mature audience, but it's very good. This is the best written Star Wars show there's been. It has so many great moments. It feels more like a complete movie of an arc with these first 3 episodes. The first episode I would obviously score a 9, and then the second episode I'd score an 8, and then the third is just a 10 because the action just crazy. But when they said this was gonna be more adult, dude, they were not kidding. Like, there's so many cool things, and the acting in the show is just god tier on every level, and just
unreal.
I love it. I love it so much. Diego Luna is fantastic. Stellan Skarsgård is fantastic. Everyone in here is good. Even the supporting characters are interesting. And don't get me wrong, there's some Imperial assholes that you'll hate, but that's part of the enjoyment of the show. Like, it just... And this is the most different Star Wars show. I promise you, you've never seen a Star Wars show like Andor.
Absolutely
Never.
not, yep.
So, yeah, I definitely think I've given my main thoughts. Watch Andor. It's fucking amazing. Now I'm gonna pass it over to Jake.
There's nothing like this show right now. Like, if you enjoyed Rogue One, you're gonna really love this series.
It's so
This
fucking
series goes
good.
all out on like literally everything. The music, fantastic. The cinematography, fantastic. They didn't light anything too much. They make it look like a very, down to earth, gritty kind of setting. The dialogue is like it's perfect for each character. Every character has their own kind of like personality, and you already like understand what they're all kind of going through right now, and that's what you want. I mean, that's what you want from a show like this. Every character is on point. The writing here is fantastic. The acting, outstanding. Like, I'm surprised. Like, this is something coming from a Disney Plus show, because if I didn't know any better, I would assume that this is an HBO Max show or something to that extent.
Absolutely.
It's just, I mean, this is the first 3 episodes too. I mean, and the first 3 episodes just feel like a freaking movie. It feels like a movie. That's what it is. I mean, it feels like a short movie. They have a complete arc in Andor, from the first episode to the 3rd episode, and everything in between is just like perfectly done. And I'm so glad that we finally have this series, because Rogue One was always my favorite Star Wars movies, or Star Wars movie, I should say. And I don't think there's anyone better to do than casting Andor. I think he's such a great character to do, to make a show based off of, to include the Imperial, authority. I mean, to show that in this show, and it's not even, we're not even like halfway through the show, and it's already like one of the best shows.
I also think it's amazing that we haven't seen, like, throughout this show, we got these security, like people working for the Empire. We haven't seen the real Empire.
We haven't even seen the actual Imperial officers yet.
And we're 3 episodes in.
Or the stormtroopers, for that matter. I mean, these aren't even stormtroopers. These are just regular, everyday officers going out.
And we haven't seen the clones yet either, which is crazy. So that's gonna be crazy.
We have way more to come, and I think that's why I've already fallen in love with the show. It's just this is gonna be one wild ride. And
I love that, like, Clone Wars. One of the things that Clone Wars did so well is the structure of, like, even though there was filler arcs, every arc for the most part had purpose, and each arc story was centered around certain characters. And being that the Andor show does not just revolve around Cassian but other Andors, that's going to be just so cool to have that experience. And just hey man, dude,
definitely I'm gonna go standouts right now. Of course, Diego Luna, like, he's amazing. And of course, Stellan Skarsgård, he's always there doing his thing. I think Stellan is an amazing actor. But standouts right now, that Imperial officer, I don't know what his name is, but the main guy, and then Andor's sister. I mean, shit gets real at the 3rd episode. The 3rd episode, shit gets real, and they both bring their A game when it comes, like, to acting. I think they both like killed it. I mean, especially what they're supposed to be doing. And I can't wait to see more of them. I think they're.
I just think something that I really wanted to bring up that's just great about this is we've now had Stellan Skarsgård in both Marvel and Star Wars, and even though we've only seen him in like half of an episode and then most of episode 3, right? I can honestly say I prefer him in Star Wars to being in Marvel because
easily
it's sad to me. Like, I get what Marvel was trying to do, like, and it's good for actors to do different layers and to add some comedy, but then also play serious roles. But this man is such a good actor. He needs to be in roles that really approach who he is as an actor. Like, and he's had so many great roles over the course of his life. Like, to be in something like Star Wars, but this not even feel like Star Wars. Like, I know there were some people that were worried when Tony Gilroy said that he was making Star Wars, but it wasn't going to be like what everyone else thought of as StarArs. Like, people kind of worried about the Rian Johnson track record, but like, this man just delivers on everything, and it's just so brilliant.
Absolutely. And I'm totally on board for it. I was already on board for it when I heard that he was going to be making a grounded, gritty kind of Star Wars series. I mean, you think back to a bunch of other series that are just like what this show is supposed to be about, and movies too, and that's what I want to see. Like, I mean, I love the fantastical and the surreal like elements of the Star Wars films, but this is what I want to see right now.
I think
a new side of Star Wars from the lens. I want to see it from the eyes of people who are just on the ground, everyday people who see these events happening as they unfold.
Absolutely. I love the fact that, like, for me, like, as much as Star Wars has always been about the fantastical elements, like the ship battles, the action scenes, which there are action scenes, the lightsabers, all those great things. This show, and I know people might have not liked this for the first 2 episodes, because I'm sure that people might find it boring or whatever, because it's not for them. I love watching a Star Wars show and being so enthralled in these conversations about just anything, just whether it's Stellan Skarsgård and Andor having a conversation, Andor talking to his sister, Andor talking to his technical, I guess, stepmom, like Andor talking to the droid. Just any conversation in this show, just the way that they write the Star Wars dialogue here is so smart, and this show is like a mixture between Blade Runner 2049 and a true, almost Bourne Identity story in the Star Wars universe. You have that spy espionage thriller. Andor's not like our usual blaster heroes. He's not just one guy that's he's not playing by the rules.
Han Solo,
yeah.
Right? Because Han Solo always has Chewie with him. He's not a loner. He's part. I mean, they have a relationship together, and Han's not really a killer either. He's just this lovable goofball who has this sort of charisma to him. And then on the other scale, let's take someone like Poe Dameron, who is just he's really just there to do what he needs to. I mean, that guy's like innocent as fuck. Like, Poe Dameron hasn't done shit.
Oh, absolutely.
But this would Andor. I mean, Andor's just a complete, like, he's John Wick in Star Wars. Like, that's what he is. He's John Wick in Star Wars.
Yeah, he's absolutely ruthless.
He gets the job done. He does what he needs to do. You know, no questions asked. But he does it in, like, in such a way that, I mean, it's so interesting. It's so, I mean, you immediately fall in love with the character, and you want to know more about him. You immediately want to know about more. And I love the storytelling in this series. I love how they're the formula. They're using the formula of going back and forth between flashbacks and the present time, because it makes you understand more, like, his character and his personality.
I agree. It's so refreshing to see that, and to see Star Wars, like many critics have saying, much like how when you think of Star Wars: A New Hope being the first Star Wars movie and being the movie that started Star Wars, this is, much as Mando was really good, this is not only a return to form for Star Wars fans, but it's something new and different to sink your teeth in each week to look forward to. And also, most Disney Plus shows are six episodes, and occasionally you get 9, but it's mostly 6. We're getting 12 episodes in season 1, and then we're also already confirmed to get a season 2. Like, so it's just a brilliant joy to have that experience. And I just think that's so cool. Just to be able to say that that's happened is so mind-blowing.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I'm just completely impressed with what the writers have been able to do here. And I can't wait to see more of it.
I agree. We're going to be watching it every week. We're going to be talking about it every week. It's just so good.
No doubt, this show can just pale the comparison to She-Hulk right now. And pretty much anything that's come out in the past few weeks. I mean, House of the Dragon has elements there, but that's more, you know, overall, like, we kind of already know about that world, right? We're just going back in time, really. And we are here with Andor, but it feels different. I mean, it's something similar, but it feels different. And that's what I love about it. So, yeah, I mean, no, I think me and you can both agree that, you know, this show blows She-Hulk out of the water.
Absolutely, and to see Star Wars show its most desperate time for the rebellion, and even just Star Wars in general, and to see it through the lens of these normal people, is such an incredible experience. And I just love that. I love the idea of seeing how real, even though this is Star Wars, this show feels real. And that's something that I don't think we can say for a lot of Star Wars shows. And I think that's just fantastic to be able to say that we have that connection to something real and different, but still at the same time feels like Star Wars, but at the same time doesn't.
Yeah, totally.
And that's mind-blowing to me, and I just can't wait to see how this continues to unfold every week, how these arcs continue. Like, if every single week is going to be a different arc, how are these arcs going to be different? I just can't wait to see where this goes.
And on top of that, we already know we're going to get a second season. So,
yeah,
hooray to that. I mean, this show is already set in stone. We already know this show's going down in history as...
It's clear that Tony Gilroy he knows that he's already got a hit on his hands.
I love how he's so confident. He's already confident in another season. I mean, I'm down with more Andor, man. Give me as much that shit as you can. Because the more Andor, the more the merrier, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree, and with Diego Luna wanting to see these visions come true, and to be wanting to come back and play this character is so different. Because this wasn't an Obi-Wan situation where an iconic character comes back to play the role. This was a character that we barely knew. Now we get to see more of his story.
Yeah. And I remember a point in time too, where we knew about all these upcoming different shows. We knew about Ahsoka, Mandalorian Season 3, Obi-Wan, and then we had Andor maybe like at the back burner of that, I guess. And everyone's like, oh, well, I mean, it's just Andor. It's not going to be good as Obi-Wan Kenobi or Ahsoka or the Mandalorian. But honestly, I would argue it's already better than Obi-Wan, and it has potential to be better than the Mandalorian.
Yeah, just because they're all different shows, and just like, but I feel like if it's compared to better Star Wars television, Mando's going to be a show you turn on for that nostalgic, like, that you love the story and you love the characters, but you also love it because it's got that fun charm feel. This is going to be for us who are adults that want that more realistic, gritty, we want to see what the Empire can really be. and how desperate, what are the rebels willing to do? Because right now, at this stage, there isn't a rebellion yet, right? So what are these small heroes willing to do to be able to take these guys down for as evil as they are?
Exactly.
And these first 3 episodes really kind of give a glimpse that, you know, the sky's the limits. They're willing to do whatever it takes to bring these guys down.
We've never really seen in live action the birth of the rebellion. Like Rogue One hinted at it, but by then, by the beginning of Rogue One, the rebellion already existed. We're literally seeing the birth of the rebellion. Obi-Wan kind of hinted it. Again, Obi-Wan sparked the light, but they never really showed us what happened after. But we know we're gonna see the rebellion be formed in this show, and we're here for that. So, overall, each episode, I wouldn't give a score like lower than 8, probably. Right now, all 3 episodes, 10 out of average score, I'd probably give like a 9. They're all really good.
Absolutely.
No doubt.
Darth Vader. I'll face it myself.
What do you guys say about that, bro?
I think that's absolutely very fair and very doable, and I'm very much looking forward to continue discussing this show with you guys, because it's fantastic. You guys all need to watch it as soon as you can so we can have an awesome, lively discussion. I have a full review, a personal review of my personal thoughts coming out later today for you guys. Today's gonna be a very productive video review. We're gonna get back on track with our Star Wars videos. We're going to do a little bit of everything today. It's going to be a ton of fun, guys. So look forward to that. We're going to wrap up this podcast in a couple of minutes when we finish this round, because we're all very tired. We've had a very long night and early day. So thanks for coming in, guys. We'll try to get the next podcast structured again. We still have to decide what we want to do for the next and like, are we going to wait till the next Andor episode? Are we going to do another episode before the next Andor episode comes out? Let us know what you guys are wanting. Do you want more than 1 episode per week, or do you guys want just the 1 each week? And we'll see if we can fit it into our schedule. Okay, what did FPE say? Now Thanos without the stones versus Vader. Still Vader.
Still Vader. Still Vader. Yeah, let's just be clear to everyone who's going to be watching this live stream again, like who's ever going to play this podcast. Vader wins any match, undoubtedly, unless it's like you're picking the most powerful beings in fiction. Vader,
just kidding,
Vader
never mind.
Probably, yeah, I would say like 85% of the time Vader wins that match, no matter who.
Yeah. Yeah, there are a couple of situations where Thanos could win, but it's not a big enough chance where Thanos would have to completely sneak up on Vader and literally, like, take Vader's abilities away from him, which is not easy to do.
No, not easy at all.
Alright, guys, thanks for coming in. We'll see you in the next podcast. Let us know when you want the next episode to be and how many episodes per week. Okay, so you're saying after every Andor episode. Okay. We can make sure that sounds good. We will plan that out for you guys. And then we can cover She-Hulk. We can cover the previous episode of She-Hulk each week, getting ready for the next episode as well. Yep. Alright, sounds good. Catch you guys later.
See ya.